Damon Allen and the Lions trying to wrap up the West as they take on the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. Hey everybody, hi again, James Duthie along with Matt Dunnigan and Chris Schultz. Welcome to the CFL Live. And you know what? The Stamps and Lions are starting to become like, well, Brad Pitt and Ed Norton in Fight Club. Seems like every week they get together and pummel each other just for the fun of it. This would be the 4th regular season meeting, plus an exhibition game, plus perhaps a future date in the Western Final. So the rivalry continues to grow. The Lions want to wrap it up right here and now, Matt.
Yeah, we have a platform for what I believe are two of the most outstanding players in the league this season, Damon Allen and Calvin Anderson. Damon Allen, what a great opportunity for him to bounce back after a suspect game 2 weeks ago to his own place and to get his team home field advantage for the rest of the way. We've talked about that. I'm anxious to see Damon Allen use his legs and go out here and in a very volatile crowd in McMahon Stadium and control this football game and take away the momentum of the Calgary Stampeders. He's capable of doing it. He's been doing it for 15 years. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to watch him play, James.
Now, we've mentioned several times Calgary has not beaten BC so far. They're 0-3, and the games have been close. They've in no way been dominated, but at least from a mental aspect, Chris, they want to at least get one win up on the board before the end of the season.
I think they have to get one win up on the board, and I think Wally Buono, more than anybody else, is very aware of that. I like the way Buono coaches because he is crystal clear on who he believes wins football games, that being the players. This is vital importance to the Calgary Stampeders because if they win, and they win convincingly with these two teams, and all logic of football says they meet November the 21st, I think BC will have a hard time because Calgary will have an edge in the mental area knowing they can beat the Lions, and also their middle linebacker, Alondra Johnson, will be back. That is a physical asset that's missing from this defensive football team. There's no doubt Calgary's a good football team. They're not great, but they have an opportunity to become great this afternoon, James.
One of the few criticisms of the BC Lions offense, they have some very talented receivers, but perhaps not all that physical, and this is a physical Calgary defense, Matt.
Yeah, they are. You know, it's leading with Fears and Coleman, Chris. These players come to play, especially in their own backyard. Blair, Brown, Cunningham, Jackson, the BC receivers, they need to get with it. They need to pick up their physical game in this ball game here because they've been kind of criticized a little bit about shying away from contact. Well, they're not going to have to shy away. It's going to come knocking on their door today in McMahon Stadium.
All right, of course, lots more from these guys at the quarters and at the halves, but for now, we are ready to play some football. The Stamps and the Lions are coming up next. For first place in the West, the Lions can wrap it up. From Calgary, the CFL Live. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you at the end of the first quarter.
They're expecting another big crowd at McMahon Stadium for a big game. Welcome to football fans coast to coast. We think we've got a good one for you today. Dave Randorf along with Glenn Suter for the Calgary Stampeders and the BC Lions one more time.
The psychological warfare is going on already. The BC Lions wearing their whites on the road are 7-1. The Calgary Stampeders in warm-up today put on the red jerseys and then surprised the Lions when they came out in their black jerseys. They're 7-0 when they wear the blacks.
Little gamesmanship right off the top. The weather is brought to you by the Weather Network. As you can see, it's a beautiful day in Calgary, nice and warm. The wind is not cold at all. However, it is gusting, and the Weather Network says it could gust up to 60 kilometers an hour today, and obviously that could be a key in the kicking game. Greg Mons, as we've told you through the pregame show, 5-0 against the Calgary Stampeders. One more win today, and first place in the Western Division belongs to he and the BC Lions.
Wally Buono, the last time these two teams played was Week 12. Did not finish the football game. He was tossed out, and he's going to be back on the sideline looking to beat the Lions for the first time this year.
And we are ready to go. The BC Lions won the coin toss. They've decided to kick the ball off and take the wind in the second and fourth quarter. And Glenn, we were walking around the field beforehand, and it was gusting.
Yeah, and that coin toss becomes that much more important. If you can win that toss and defer and get the wind in the long quarters, it can pay off.
So there's Brett Anderson set to kick this game off for the BC Lions. And we are underway at McMahon Stadium. That's Coleman with a decent return close to the 50-yard line, and that's where the Calgary Stampeders will begin. The men in black, Dave Dickinson, says he feels closer to 100% than he did the last time these two teams met. He's taken some heavy knocks, and that's because the offensive line is just finally starting to get back to form that they had last season. They've had some changes, but with the big chill back in town, they've helped solidify things. First 1st and 10 for Dickinson from his own 47-yard line. Making his 10th start of the season. He's had some injury troubles. And he's working right away out of the shotgun. Little play action. Swings it out to Danielson, and right away, Danielson has a first down. Vince Danielson getting into it early.
Calgary Stampeders wanting to move the pocket around for Dave Dickinson. We talked about how much he has been hit this season and the troubles they've had up front with the offensive line. Well, one way you can beat that is to move the pocket around, get your quarterback running.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 8. First down.
Marcus Dowdell gets the unnecessary roughness, and penalties have been a problem for the Stampeders. You know the emotions are flowing in this football game. These teams hate each other, but you don't want to get that penalty after the fact.
Not right off the bat. It wipes out a 16-yard gain, and it's 1st and 20. First down repeated. Dickinson. Out of that shotgun, going to go up over the top. Wide open is Anderson, and he can't haul that one in. Anderson had it right in his hands and couldn't squeeze it.
Both teams are tight. Both teams are so fired up for this game. Sometimes that can work against you early because you're tight, you're not loose, you're not relaxed. Calvin Anderson comes out of the backfield, goes right down the seam in behind Paul Lacoste, the linebacker, and splits the two deep safety defense. See, there's two deep coverage. Safety can't get over there. Calvin Anderson can't hang on to the football.
Close to 500 yards receiving this season for Anderson. He would have loved to have added to that total right there. 2nd and 10. Flag is down. Dickinson has the ball up in the air, and it's complete. Alan Pitts. That is a first down, depending on what the flag is all about.
Well, even Alan Pitts kind of fought that football.
Offside. BC. Decline. First down.
So they do move the ball despite that early penalty, Glenn.
Alan Pitts going to come down and run the curl. Now just watch how he fights the football at the end. Usually Alan Pitts has the softest hands in the business, but these guys are pretty tense right now. See him come back, watch him kind of fight it. See how he fought that ball, went down to his thigh, and then he hung on.
Calgary at the BC 46-yard line. Dickinson with a brand new set of downs. Still out of that shotgun. He's going to put it up again. He's looking for Travis Moore, and that one is too far. Moore couldn't get in position to bring that one down. Here's the BC defensive setup brought to you by Midas.
David Benefield will be their Defensive Player of the Year nominee. He's having a great one. Wouldn't be surprised to see him up on the podium. It's a great secondary. Dale Joseph having a good year, and Eric Carter on the corner also playing very well.
Antonio Armstrong not in this game for the BC Lions. He's out with a shoulder injury. He had a huge game against the Stamps, and Dickinson in particular took a lot of heavy hits from number 50. 2nd and 10. Again from that 46. Going to the air one more time, and one more time it's Danielson going up and bringing one down against Reggie Carthon.
Danielson has pretty good size at the slot back position. When you're 6'4", 210 pounds, you can use your body to your advantage, and he's covered pretty well by Reggie Carthon down the field, but when the ball is in the air, he uses his size to keep Reggie Carthon off the football. You see how he turns around, uses his body? Carthon can't reach around and get it, and Dave Dickinson pays the price one more time. He's been sacked more than any other quarterback in the Canadian Football League, and he's been hit just as many times as he's been sacked.
But he takes that hit to make the play. They're now on the 19. Dickinson's going to throw again. Gets away from some pressure over the top to Anderson. Nice catch. And Anderson is out of bounds at about the 6 or 7 yard line. Good drive by Calgary to open this game. All through the air.
Well, Kelvin Anderson, first of all, what he wants to do is check blitz. If there's no blitz, then he's going to sneak out of the backfield. Watch how he checks blitz first. Little play action. He's going to check, see if anyone's coming. Okay, no one's coming. Everybody's got their man. Okay, now I'm just going to leak out of the backfield and try and create a target for Dave Dickinson. Pretty nice one-handed catch at the end of that play.
Another first down on that play, so it's 1st and goal from the 6. Dickinson hands to Anderson. Anderson, who goes into the crowd, picks up a couple more.
Alan Pitts this week has talked a couple times in the media about wanting to see the football a little bit more when the Calgary Stampeders are in this end of the field. Throughout his career, Pitts has been the go-to guy. Usually he'll run an out pattern on the short side, or if he gets to the wide side of the field, he'll run the corner pattern. He's made a living on touchdowns in the green zone or the red zone, depending on what team you're on. That's what they call it. Alan Pitts said he wants to see the football more when the team gets down in scoring range.
The fullback, Dwayne Ford, has also come onto the field for the Calgary Stampeders. This has been his territory this year as well. The handoff goes to Anderson. He's close, but not in.
Well, decision time now again. Wally Buono sending the big guys 1 yard out. He's going to punch it in here. And put in what's called the elephants.
The jumbo team.
Yeah.
So the men in black, 7-0, wearing these snappy black uniforms.
This is what the Calgary Stampeders needed, though. They needed a good start just to sort of bury the doubt that they had in the back of their minds about whether or not they could compete against the BC Lions.
Flag on that play before it even got started. Somebody jumped.
Right in the middle of the line. I think it was Steve Harden. Steve Harden comes in on defense in short yardage situations, and I believe...
Offside, BC number 74, first down.
See, Steve Harden is usually on offense, and he's usually hearing the quarterback tell him what the snap count is. On defense, you have to watch the football and go when the ball moves. Steve Harden kind of went on the count, and it was the wrong count.
So it's 1st and goal now from the Stamps, from the 1. Hands off, and that is a touchdown. I believe it was Dwayne Ford. Number 34 scored some big touchdowns from in close, and he gets another one for the Calgary Stampeders to give them the 6-0 lead.
Well, he punches it in on this one in a play that's designed to really kind of stretch out a defense you know is going to be clogging up the middle. They're trying to run sort of an option play to the outside, so you know the end guys have to respect Calvin Anderson to the outside, and that gives Dwayne Ford that much more opportunity to pound it up in the middle when he gets the football.
The extra point by Mark McLaughlin. Should be automatic, and it is. So the Calgary Stampeders open up with a touchdown on their opening drive. Dwayne Ford punches it in, and the Stamps send a message to this big crowd early. It's 7-0 Stamps.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard. By Molson Canadian. Here's where we get Canadian. And by Rogers at Home, the internet on cable.
Dwayne Ford came into this game with only 5 carries, but 2 were for touchdowns. He's just added to that total. That's his 3rd touchdown of the season along the ground, and it is 7-0 Calgary right off the bat, Glenn.
Yeah, why not give it to Dwayne Ford when you got 1 yard to go? Big, powerful fullback, and a guy that people don't think you're going to see the football as much when you got Calvin Anderson back there.
So now McLaughlin will kick it off to the BC Lions. And the most dangerous return man in the game has got it. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham didn't get away there. He is going to be a big key in this game as he comes up with some big numbers. Here's a look at the scoring drive brought to you by 1-800-HI-IT'S-ME.
Great drive. Anytime you get in double figures, it's a good drive. 10 plays, and this drive started with a penalty against the Calgary Stampeders that pushed them back right off the get-go. So they got the drive together, got 10 plays in a row, killed 4 minutes on the clock, punched it in to get the lead, and to eliminate a little doubt they may have had coming in.
So Damon Allen and the BC Lions offense take over at their own 27-yard line. Allen coming off a week in Edmonton where he passed for 195 yards, 2 interceptions, and 1 touchdown pass. They got the win in what was a pretty sloppy game, but they won it in overtime, and they're just happy to get the W. But they'll have to raise their game if they're going to get it done here today against Calgary. The handoff goes to Robert Drummond. Drummond pounding his way for a few yards before he is pounded back. Here's a look at the BC Lions offense, brought to you by Midas. Robert Drummond out of the backfield has been a huge weapon. No real big numbers in the receiving core yet because that's the way they spread the ball around. Jamie Terra's having a solid year at the center position along the offensive line, the all-Canadian offensive line. Gain of 2 on that last play, 2nd and 8 from the 29. Right away, they're in a 2nd and long passing situation. Allen up over the middle, complete to Alfred Jackson. Did he hang on? No, he didn't. The good hit by Daryl Hall jarred that ball loose.
Well, the BC Lions in Week 12 were dishing out a lot of big hits against the Calgary Stampeders, and we figured that that would happen in the opposite fashion here in McMahon Stadium because Daryl Hall, number 4, is going to drop in the middle of your screen right there. Now watch him take his drop. Football's in the air and put a huge hit on Alfred Jackson that had to climb the ladder to catch that football. And Jackson was very slow getting up. This is another big hit from 2 teams that really don't like each other.
However, the crowd reacting to a penalty on the play. There's a BC Lion down on the play. I didn't catch the call.
I think Alfred Jackson, he got up, he took about 3 steps and then went back down, and they're just checking out his knee and make sure that he wasn't hurt on the hit. He tried to get up.
Well, we knew it was going to be physical, and it's become physical right off the bat. Daryl Hall has got to really step up in that linebacking core today for the Calgary Stampeders because they are without Alondra Johnson again. And while they tend to Alfred Jackson, we will take a quick break. Wally Buono Stamps with a 7-0 lead at McMahon. There's Alfred Jackson. He's back up on his feet. Let's go downstairs quickly along the sidelines to Sherry Hargrave to get the update on what that penalty call was about.
Well, that was an objectional misconduct on Chad Chris, number 28 for Calgary, for talking, jawing a bit. You know, this game's getting pretty intense.
There's been a lot of talking, so it's first down from the 39. Allen looking for Eddie Brown, but Marvin Coleman was with him step for step. Here's a look at the Calgary defensive setup, Glenn.
Well, up front, they really have not had a dominant pass rusher. Jermaine Miles leads the team with quarterback sacks with just 4. Daryl Hall really has to pick up his game with Alondra Johnson out of the middle. You saw him make the big hit. And William Hampton and Jack Kellogg in the secondary have combined for 12 interceptions on the year. They're really having great seasons.
They certainly are, and they've forced them into another 2nd and long situation. 2nd and 10. Allen out of that shotgun. Nobody in the backfield. He pulls it back down, tries to get away. That is going to be short of the first down. About 3 yards short. So they'll have to kick it away.
Well, this is going to happen a lot to Damon Allen because he's going to see a bunch of zone defense. Calgary likes to play conservatively defensively when they're around the middle of the field or in the other team's end. And then as soon as they get backed up in their own end, they'll send the blitz. So Damon Allen pulls it down because good coverage downfield. The Stampeders dropped everybody but 4. No one opened up for Damon Allen. He had to run and get what he could.
And there's Lou back to kick it into the wind. Brock Preston and Coleman back to receive. Marvin Coleman has brought 2 back for touchdowns this year. There's the flag. And Marvin Coleman is brought down just around the 40-yard line, and that's where the Stamps will begin when we come back. It's 7-0 Calgary in the first quarter of play. There's the head coach of the BC Lions, Greg Mons, and for a little insight into the history between he and Wally Buono, here again is Sherry Hargrave.
A lot has been said in the press this week about the bad blood between Greg Mons and Wally Buono. Mons wouldn't even comply with the dual pre-game press conference. He wanted his own, but both coaches insist this is just a lot of media hype. Get in the shot. In fact, and a lot of people don't know this, Buono tried to hire Mons in 1995 as the head of the player personnel director, but Mons ended up going to the Memphis Mad Dogs. So this is really a lot to do about nothing except for winning, and that's something Wally hasn't done against Mons yet.
Not yet. Thank you, Sherry.
Well, it really is, you know, a lot about nothing. I mean, the coaches never make a tackle, never throw a pass, or make a hit. But it's fun to talk about, and it was interesting yesterday when Greg Mons decided not to go to the dual press conference that Wally likes to have, and Wally mentioned it afterwards, and Mons said, hey, I'm 5-0 without it. I don't need to do that.
I'm not going to change anything now.
You don't even change your socks when you're winning.
Loss of 1 on the play. It will be 2nd and 11. I think that wind is causing a little trouble down there for the players. There's Dave Dickinson.
Well, it's important for Calgary to score as much as they can here in the first quarter with the wind at their backs. When you have the wind, you want to take full advantage of it, because the second quarter and the fourth quarter are the long quarters of the game, because it stopped time after 3 minutes.
And despite working into that, or with that wind, obviously they're going primarily with the pass, which they do again. That ball is tipped a little high, looking for Alan Pitts.
Well, this is the problem, and it's tough on quarterbacks, because when you have the wind at your back, the ball will tend to sail on you. You're going to step in and throw that football. Yeah, and the wind will take that football and lift it up a little higher.
Outside, Calgary number 8, decline, 3rd down.
It'll sail on you, and then going into it, of course, you got to really throw that tight spiral, because if the ball flutters going into the wind, it just stops its momentum completely.
So after opening up with an impressive drive, you can see the frustration on Dickinson's face, who admits it's been an up-and-down season for him. People forget that he's only become the starter this year. This is only his 10th start, because he has had injuries.
Well, up-and-down season for it is a good way to put it, because he's been up and down off the turf all year, too.
But he's had more up than down. The team is 10-5. Here's Jimmy the Jet Cunningham inside his own 10-yard line, looking for a hole, not going to get it. They're wrapping up the Jet early so far. A 53-yard punt from Tony Martino. The keys for victory as far as the BC Lions are concerned, Glenn Suter.
Well, I think, first of all, they got to be patient offensively. We talked about Calgary and how patient they are playing zone defense, especially when they're in the offensive end of the field. Contain Calvin Anderson. He's having a tremendous year. In fact, should be up for one of the players for outstanding player in the league. And I think score first, well, they haven't done that. Calgary drew first blood, so Calgary's already got him on that one.
One key is already out of the window.
Well, I've always said if you get 2 out of the 3 keys, you got a good chance of winning. Right. It's like if you win, you got offense, defense, and special teams. If you win 2 out of the 3,
that's always a good percentage.
You got a chance.
In baseball, you're a 600 hit. Little handoff to Robert Drummond, and he found a hole and picked up a first down. I think he's right on the first down marker.
The BC Lions, especially on first down to start this game, are going to go with the big set. See that tight end out there? This is a tight end set. They're going to put Mo Elowanibi to the outside and bring in the extra lineman, and they just want to pound the football, especially when they're heading into the wind. It's something that they like to do. Get Robert Drummond involved early, take some pressure off Damon Allen, pound that football along the ground, and see if you can turn out some first downs and kill the quarter that you have the wind in your face.
Didn't quite get there. 2nd and 1. From the 20, there's Drummond again, and he's got the first down this time. Robert Drummond having a great season, as we've talked about many times. Over 1,000 yards rushing coming into this game.
It really is an inspirational story, Robert Drummond, and we've talked about it this year from time to time. But when Robert Drummond could overcome the things that he had to overcome of a year ago, the loss of his father, the season that he had, it really is an inspiration to everybody that's watched Robert Drummond as a competitor.
1st and 10. He goes back to Robert Drummond. He hurdles somebody down there. Picks up a few more yards. Yeah, you had an interesting chat with Robert Drummond, a feature that we're going to see next week on Sports Desk Extra, isn't that right?
That's right. And we talked about the loss of his father and how devastating it was and how tough it was for him to get over. In the same week, he went back to his father's funeral. His mother-in-law also passed away. So it was really a whole bunch of personal tragedy that Robert Drummond had to fight through. He wanted to quit football. He wanted to walk away from it all initially. But he battled through it, and he's having a tremendous season. He's been a huge inspiration to his teammates. Robert Drummond is a competitor.
3rd in rushing in the CFL coming into this one. 2nd and 7. Allen going up top, looking for Braun. Almost picked off by Shad Chris. There's a flag on the play. So the question is, offensive or defensive pass interference.
And Chad Chris, of course, he wants to make up for that dead ball foul he had. Objectionable
Forward
conduct.
pass interference. Calgary number 28. First down.
I don't know about this. I mean, it looked like pretty good defense to me on Chad Chris. He's clapping because he said, I can't play it any better than that. I mean, there it is right there on Eddie Brown. As long as you're looking back to the football, I don't see any penalty there. I mean, watch this. You're looking back to the football. You're allowed to lean into the receiver. No contact. There was no grabbing from Chad Chris. Boy, I didn't see the penalty there.
The rookie with good coverage. Looks like the Lions got away with one. It's a 30-yard pickup there at the Stampeders 50-yard line with a first down. Allen hands off to Drummond again. Picks up 4, maybe 5 more.
Well, this is a drive that's got to concern Wally Buono because he had the BC Lions stopped. He got that bad call on Chad Chris, but now he's watching the BC Lions put together a pretty good drive here, and it's a drive when his team has the win.
Wally Buono, first place in the West, has always almost been personal property to the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions can wrap it up for themselves with a win here today. Allen gets away from pressure, gets the first down, knew exactly where it was and got it.
For the first down, a gain of 5.
And there's the decision-making of the veteran quarterback, Damon Allen.
When you're talking about the outstanding player in the Canadian Football League this year, to me, Damon Allen has got to be on top of the list because, you know what, his numbers are pretty good. Some will say he has the game where he only throws for 100 yards, but Damon Allen makes good decisions. He throws an interception once every season the last couple of years. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but he's making great decisions and he's winning.
And with that play, he moved over 9,000 career rushing yards. Here's a good rush by Mark Nora. Picking up another BC first down. They're close to the 25-yard line. Over 9,000 yards rushing for Damon Allen. Forget the fact that he, of course, is the all-time leading rushing quarterback. Let's talk about just rushers, period, in the game.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, you look at that list. So those are running backs ahead of Damon Allen. And he's still getting it done. 9,000. He's going to pass Normie Kwong. Move into 4th place by himself. Of course, Mike Pringle's still playing, and Mike Pringle may be right beside him on the podium this year for outstanding player from the East.
1st and 10 from the 27. Robert Drummond into a crowd, but that Stampeders defense stepped up. Jeff Traversy was in there. And it looks like Jermaine Miles was in there as well. An interesting comparison today with Damon Allen. We'll sort this call out.
Legal procedure against the BC Lions. Yeah. Probably the Calgary Stampeders right now are going to have a decision whether or not to.
BC number 64, decline.
Yeah.
2nd down.
Whether or not to decline or accept the penalty, and they decided to decline, put in 2nd and pretty much 10 yards, 9 yards, and make it a 2nd and long situation for Damon Allen and a pure passing down.
Damon Allen, you talk about him as being a strong candidate for most outstanding player in the West. We'll also have to talk about Kelvin Anderson, too, because he has really come on for the Calgary Stampeders. But right now, it's 2nd and 9 for Allen and the Lions from the 26. And he's going to go into the end zone, and that ball is just out of the reach of Eddie Brown. Caught up in the wind, couldn't bring it down.
Chad Chris does a super job of coverage because he's caught on the wrong side. See, Chad Chris is right here. He's going to get caught on the outside of Eddie Brown as they release off the line of scrimmage. See, you don't want to be on the outside, but Chad Chris makes up for it with a little bit of contact as he turns to the out, gets his hands on him, slows him down, and then breaks to the football. He wasn't in the perfect position, but he used his feet to make up for it and get back in good coverage. He's really played pretty well since that dead ball foul that he committed early in the game.
Louis Pasaglia from 33 yards away. And that one is not even close. And it looks like they're going to give up the single point here. Perhaps. No, they're not. Yes, they are. But there is a flag on that play. We'll sort that out when we come back. We're late in the 1st quarter at McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Calgary number 92. We apply the penalty from the 10-yard line. No score. First down.
So you got back just in time to hear the call on that play.
Well, it's a big call, too.
Yeah.
Steve Anderson gets an illegal block in the end zone. There's no point. The Lions take it, but they put Calgary back on their own 5-yard line. You know, and you saw the wind and how big it is. It will be a factor in this football game, because that kick by Louis Pasaglia from 30 yards out really died in the wind. And I watched Mark McLaughlin in warm-up too, and Mark McLaughlin's got a live leg, and he was kicking him from about 30 and 35, and they were struggling to get in. Yeah. So it's a strong win.
This has not been a great season for Louis, but I think we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one with the wind coming from different directions. Dickinson, play action, puts it up. He's got Travis Moore. Moore across the 15 and a little bit more, a couple more to the 17-yard line. Travis Moore having a nice season for the Calgary Stampeders. What are the keys for their victory today, Clint?
Well, they got to keep Dave Dickinson on his feet. 51 sacks allowed in the year. That's worse in the CFL. They got to protect him, let him throw the football. No bad penalties. They already have 2 dead ball fouls. That's fouls after the whistle. They got to eliminate them and win the track meet and the return, guys. The Jets so far in 3 games, close to 300 yards in returns, and of course, the Lions have won all 3.
First down, Stampeders. Dickinson's going to run. Everybody was covered. And he wants a call for a late hit.
Well, either a late hit or a face mask. He got up yelling, and he kind of grabbed his face mask. Now, I don't know if he was just adjusting his helmet again after what was a late hit or what he thought was a late hit. Here's a look at it. He goes down. His face mask was fine, so he's complaining about the late hit right there. But I think, in fairness, Raphael Robinson was just trying to get out of the way. Kind of turned his head. He didn't lead with his head or his shoulder.
Well, he didn't get the call. It's 2nd and 5 from the 23-yard line. Still out of the shotgun. Flag is down. The pass is picked off by the BC Lions. Bo Lewis has his hands on it, but there was a flag on the play.
I don't think it's going to count, because I think the BC Lions were offside.
You're right.
Looked like it was Jason Kralt on the outside.
Offside. BC number 49. First down.
He just got a bit of a jump, and he couldn't get himself back in time. You know, look at this right here. Now at this, when the play happens, you think, well, it's an offside, no big deal, it's a 5-yard play. It ends up in a BC line interception that is called back, so it becomes that much bigger of an offside call.
That play for the rookie linebacker making his first career start. First down for Dickinson. Along the sidelines, Pitts pushing off and couldn't bring it in.
Now, see, the fans are excited here because Bo Lewis was running stride for stride with Alan Pitts. Very similar to the play that Shad Chris was running with Eddie Brown. Chris got the penalty. Bo Lewis did not get the flag.
And that was the final play of the first quarter. It's 7-0 Calgary. Let's head back to CFL control. Here's James Duffy.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
Hello again, Duffy, Dunnigan, and Schultz here. And one of the things you always like to do as the visitor is score early to take the crowd out of it. Letting the home team score on the opening drive is definitely not the right idea. But the Lions have settled in, Chris, and you like some of the things they're doing.
Yeah, I do. I like the play of Johnny Scott right now because when in this particular play, he has what I call explosive leverage, and he gets a hit on quarterback Dave Dickinson, and that's so important to continue to hit that quarterback play after play after play. You combine him with Robert Drummond, I think these two guys can really lead this football team a long way. Dave Dickinson's going to feel some pressure, and that's the difference between this game and last week. He's been able to make those plays. So you look at Drummond, you look at Johnny Scott, those guys play well. Matt, BC Lions are going to have a great shot.
I see a lot of things in this game. I see Dave Dickinson moving around the pocket, buying time, getting Calvin Anderson involved. He made a super catch down the goal line to set up the touchdown. Damon Allen moving the pocket, getting out and around, using his wheels, using Drummond inside. All the things we talked about, Chris. Hey, not bad. We're on it, baby. We're on it. A lot of good things happening. But what I didn't like was the extra shot I saw on Dave Dickinson. Yeah. Jake Ireland must throw that flag because that's uncalled for. That could cost this kid his career.
I agree with that.
All right. Dave Randorf mentioned off the top of the show how Calgary is 7-0 in the black jerseys. Now, the last time they wore them was the Grey Cup, which, of course, they won. Wanted to wear them again on Labor Day, but a bunch of the guys had taken them home after Grey Cup, and they didn't have them ready. They went out in the red jerseys. and they lost. The boys are back in black today and ahead at the end of 1 quarter of play. Back to Calgary we go.
And that's exactly what they were playing out of the old PA system. Back in black by ACDC. Here's the first quarter numbers by Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
Wow. Not very often you see that. 0 passing yards for the BC Lions. Time of possession is equal, though. So they're getting it done on the ground. And they're keeping their defense on the sideline as long as Calgary's keeping their defense on it. So Damon Allen's got to be patient. And he knows it against this Calgary defense.
2nd and 10 for the Calgary Stampeders from the 28. Dickinson swinging it out. There's a flag down. That ball was not brought down. And now the Stampeders are working against the wind. So is this important for the Calgary Stampeders, Glenn, for their psyche? They are a very experienced...
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver, BC number 26, first down.
Reggie Carthon with a big penalty right there.
Reggie Carthon right here. I believe he was working on Vince Danielson. Legal contact can happen anytime and anywhere on the field. And I think he just grabbed his shoulder pad, pulled him down slightly, and he gets the call.
We'll continue the point in a moment. Right now it's 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Dickinson with some people in the backfield all of a sudden. It's been a rare sight, but obviously the game plan has to change with the wind in their face. So is it important for the Calgary Stampeders, who are a veteran team, to beat the BC Lions today for their own psyche? How important do you think that is?
Well, first of all, I think they're confident enough of a football team to know that they can beat the Lions. I mean, and they feel that man for man, when you look at the rosters, they're as good as any team in the league, including the Lions. So having said that, I think it is absolutely important for them to win. I mean, you have to beat a team to know that you can beat a team. So, yeah, it's really important for Calgary's psyche to come in here and win before they head into the playoffs and probably match up in the final.
2nd and 5 after a gain of 5. Dickinson. That ball is complete. Alan Pitts with a great catch along the far sidelines.
It's just a good football play all the way around, because Pitts is going to get pretty good coverage from Dale Joseph. Here he is here. He's going to run the out pattern. Dale Joseph's in pretty good position. He's going to mix up his coverage today against Pitts, sometimes playing off him, sometimes playing bump. He breaks on the ball, cuts underneath, has a real good crack at it, but tremendous concentration by Alan Pitts as the ball goes right through Dale Joseph's hands. Pitts still hangs on.
The coverage was there. I was surprised Pitts was able to bring it in, but it is a first down. They're in BC territory now. The handoff goes to Anderson, who picks up a few more yards along the ground. Kelvin Anderson was the Western Division's most outstanding player nominee last season, and he's actually having a better year this season.
Yeah, he is. He really is. I mean, Kelvin Anderson doesn't know anything but a 1,000-yard rushing season. Every year he's been in the Canadian Football League, he's had 1,000 yards starting in 1996. And every year, as you can see, gets a little bit better in 1999. If he keeps on pace, he should beat 1998.
Amongst the league leaders in combined yards, 2nd and 7 after a gain of 3. Dickinson. All kinds of pressure all around, and nobody is around that pass. And he's got to pick himself up off the turf one more time. So it'll be 3rd down, and the Stamps will punt this ball away as the Lions hold.
And this is a tough play for Tony Martino, the kicker. He's got right now to punt into the wind. He wants to get enough on and try and get it out to the sideline so that Jimmy the Jet can't catch this one on the fly. When you're punting into the wind, that ball hangs up there. You can punt it way shorter than your coverage team can cover. So your coverage team is going to outrun the football, get in the no-yard zone. That's when the Jet can run underneath it in a hurry, catch it on the fly, and beat your guys. So this is a tough play for Tony Martino.
He's averaging 43.1 yards per punt. Recently back after trying to land a job in the NFL. Kick into the Jet, who came in with close to 600 yards where the punt returns, but he's barely seen the light of day today. The Calgary special teams has done a great job wrapping it up. It remains a 7-0 game, Calgary, in the 2nd quarter. Last night, game 1 of the World Series, John Rocker came running out of that Atlanta bullpen, but for the first time really this postseason, somebody got to him. It was Paul O'Neill. The Yankees won the ball game 4-1. Game 2 tonight on TSN.
It looked like Greg Maddux had it going on in that game.
He certainly did. A surprise starter for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
So Damon Allen, who's got a little baseball in his history, starts with a 1st and 10 deep in his own territory, swings it out. He's got Eddie Brown.
You know, Damon Allen threw kind of a fastball out there to Eddie Brown, and he's got a little bit of baseball in his history. Like you mentioned, Damon Allen played in the College World Series when he was at Cal State Fullerton. After that game, he got a chance to play against the '84 Olympic team. Of course, Damon Allen was a pitcher, pitched against Mark McGuire and Barry Bonds in that game. And I talked to him about it. I said, well, what did Mark McGuire do to you? He said, well, he took me to the wall. Didn't get it out, though.
Did not get out, but he certainly put a good dent in it.
Yeah. And I asked him, okay, well, what's your best pitch? He said, well, you know, I do the fastball around 91 miles an hour, which is pretty good, I would imagine.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And he said, but his best pitch was his slider and his changeup. Now, he wants to throw a lot of fastballs today. He wants to stay away from the changeup because receivers aren't used to catching changeups.
Eddie Brown caught that last fastball, a little pitch out to the sidelines. His first completion of the ball game. Yeah, Damon Allen, remember he had that triad with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's right. Yeah, that was in '93. Yeah.
That's right, after they won the Grey Cup with Edmonton.
That's right. He was drafted actually by Detroit. They offered him $70,000 to come to training camp. Decided to play for him.
2nd and 1, Allen keeps. Yeah, he said he was actually going to consider, if he actually got some consideration from the Pirates, he was going to consider taking a year off football and playing. He just wanted to give it a try. We had a good chat with him this morning, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know, here's a big game. There's lots of talk, lots of hype surrounding the Lions and the Stamps in Calgary, and we're just riding in the cab with the BC Lions quarterback. Was he feeling any pressure?
Yeah, we were talking a little baseball.
Talking baseball. He's about as mellow as you can get. This time he rolls out to his right, puts it up. Alfred Jackson comes back to the ball. And Alfred Jackson, after being shaken up in the first quarter, looks like he's back.
See, now pitchers don't have to do this. They don't have to take the ball and throw it on the dead fly. Now, see, this Damon Allen running out full speed and throwing a strike down the field to Alfred Jackson. Remember, Alfred Jackson was knocked senseless early in the game from Darryl Hall. He's come back, he's shaking off the cobwebs and comes up with a big catch for the Lions.
Alfred Jackson, no touchdowns this season. There's a handoff to Robert Drummond. Pick it up good. Look at him go.
Look at him go.
Look at him go.
Really,
right.
I mean, Robert Drummond, that little run right there of whatever it was, 7 yards, 8 yards, is really a great look at Robert Drummond's year. He hits the hole and will not be tackled by the first guy. And when running backs get that in their mind, they become great players and great assets to your offense. And Robert Drummond, we will watch today, but I bet you he's not going to get tackled by the first tackler.
He picked up 8 on that play, so 2nd and 2, ball is loose. The handoff went to Mark Nora. It looks like BC got it back.
Well, they got it back, and they probably got the first down. So they not only got it back, they got it on a good hop.
The hard way.
And recovered it for a first down. So break number 1 going to BC.
Mark Nora has been limited to mainly special teams since Juan Johnson returned to the scene here after trying to land himself a job with the Miami Dolphins. But Johnson has turf toe. He picked up that injury back on September 25th against these Stamps, and he is not able to go. So Nora's back in that backfield. First down from the 48-yard line. Their own 48. Here's Drummond.
Now, how you like to beat Greg Mons with that luxury, because Mark Nora really emerged as a great player. I mean, he played very well for the Lions at the fullback position early in the year, and Greg Mons then he had the decision when Juan Johnson became available as to whether or not he would bring him into the fold. Of course, he truly believes that Johnson was a big part of their run to win 6 straight last year. So he brings Johnson in. Mark Nora has no problem with playing special teams, but if Johnson goes down, Nora's back in the lineup. So it's great depth for your head coach.
Had a great collegiate career at UBC. Bad snap, ball is loose. And BC gets it back again. Mo Eloanibi.
And again, at the first down marker. They were 2nd and 4. That ball bounces around. It looked like it was on the field forever, and Mo Eloanibi finally rolls on it, and I think he might have enough for the first down. It'd be very close anyway.
So those 2 first down plays, not the way you draw them up, but bottom line is,
That's kind of fit, fumble, and fall down, but Greg Maughan's looking at the decision right now to whether or not he should punt the football. It's a long yard.
yeah.
It's a long yard, and I think, you know, sometimes you gotta cut your losses, and there's been a couple times that ball's hit the ground in this drive. Got a long yard to go. Punt the football. You got the wind at your back. This is the chance to get a whole bunch of field position back right here.
And by the way, Lupa Saglia wanted to say happy birthday to his 2 sons, Chris and Colby, 14 years old today. So happy birthday, guys, watching back home in Vancouver. Louis kicks that one out of bounds inside the 20, and that's where the Stamps will pick it up when we come back. It's 7-0 Calgary.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old, when only the finest will do.
The Calgary Stampeders opened this ball game with a 63-yard drive to score a touchdown to make it 7-0. But they haven't been able to get much more since against the BC Lions defense. Anderson out of the backfield, flag is down on the play as he is pushed out of bounds.
Jay McNeil was out trying to lead that little dump pass to the outside to Calvin Anderson. He may have been nabbed on the holding.
There is no infraction on the play. The pass was completed behind the line of scrimmage.
So, no harm, no foul, and a solid pickup by Anderson. Kelvin Anderson, the facet that he's really added to his game this year. He's always been a decent receiver and obviously a great runner, but now he's returning kicks. And that's why he, you know, I believe that he should get some serious consideration as well. He's really picked it up in the second half.
Well, he'll be the Calgary Stampeder nomination for the outstanding player.
I'm talking overall.
Yeah, and he should be. And you know, I think he's in the West. He's in against Damon Allen. So that's how close he was to getting that first down, and he did get it.
And he got it. The other thing you have to consider is that he passes the 1,000-yard mark for rushing for the 4th consecutive season, despite the fact they weren't really running the ball at the start of the season because of their offensive line. They had injuries. Fred Childress wasn't here. I mean, last year, for 18 games, they had the exact same offensive line. Not the case this year.
No, and you know, when you get Fred Childress, he leaves your lineup. You know, you think that's a hole that's going to hurt you, and it didn't hurt Calvin Anderson.
First down from the 24. Here's Anderson. Going to the right side. He's close to another first down. Kelvin Anderson.
Well, you know, and he's so important to take pressure off Dave Dickinson, because you mentioned early in the season Dickinson having to throw the ball as much as he did, and he was getting pounded, and that's why he's gone through injuries this year. And they can get Calvin Anderson up around 100 yards rushing the football in a game. They take the pressure. Now Dave Dickinson only has to make 20 plays instead of 40 plays.
Second in CFL rushing behind Mike Pringle, who picked up 143 more yesterday against the Eskimos. Another first down for the Stamps. Dickinson swings it out. And Travis Moore is met hard by a couple of BC Lions, including Johnny Scott.
Okay, this is textbook tackling. Now, in fairness, Johnny Scott outweighs Travis Moore by a little bit, okay, a bunch. But watch how he lowers his shoulders, gets down low, wraps the arms around the legs, lifts them up, and drives them back. This is how you tackle. Lower your shoulders, lift them up, drive the hips through, and then just keep on running. Down goes Travis Moore. Now, he outweighs him by like a car.
A lot. Allows the 2 on that play, so it is 2nd and 12. Dickinson out of the shotgun, putting it up over the middle. He's got Allen Pitts wide open midfield. Big play for the Stamps.
Well, a couple of times now, the BC defense has tried to play 2 deep coverage where they just have 2 safeties and they split the field. And both times, Dave Dickinson has recognized it and gone into the hole. You see the hole right there in the middle of the field? You get into that hole, you can get that football in there in a hurry, you're going to see a big opening. And Alan Pitts recognizes as well. He's seen it many times. He sees no safety in the middle. That's where he's going.
First and 10 from the 55, midfield position for the Stamps to work with. Dickinson, play action, gives it to Kelvin Anderson out of that backfield, looking for that first down marker, and he's close to it again.
So again, this is a big drive, and it's been a Kelvin Anderson drive, and it's big because the Calgary Stampeders now are going into the wind. So they want to try and keep that time of possession, the wind in their face, and that's where your running back comes in. Now, that's where we talk about Robert Drummond the other way, Kelvin Anderson. If you have a good running back and a decent running game, you can have the wind in your face and it doesn't hurt you.
Didn't hurt him on that play. An 8-yard pickup, 2nd and 2. From the 47, big hit. As number 25, Scott Thomas, met Anderson that time.
Well, Scott Thomas doesn't know a whole lot about Kelvin Anderson. He's the newcomer. He's the new wrecker.
I think he's the stinger.
Oh, he's the stinger.
I get those wrecker stingers mixed up as well.
It depends on which side they line up. But watch 25 step up and say, okay, I'm the new guy in the lineup. Hi, Kelvin. Like you to meet me. Scott Thomas, Kelvin Anderson. Hope we don't see each other two more times before this game is over, because he's the safety. He's way back there.
Wrecker, stinger, call him whatever you want. It was a good hit. Dickinson with first down, lots of pressure, has to get it away. And he's buried one more time by both Benefield and Raphael Robinson.
Okay, if Scott Thomas is the stinger, then the wrecker just went on a blitz and kind of wrecked that play for the Calgary Stampeders. I'm talking about Raphael Robinson. And you know, I've watched the BC Lions a lot this year. Really feel that David Benefield has had a tremendous year and should be maybe their defensive player nominee this year going in. But boy, Raphael Robinson, you could sure make an argument for him as well, because he has really played a great season at the safety position. In fact, Greg Mons feels like at times he's their best defensive player.
2nd and 10. Here's Dickinson, flushed out of the pocket again and drops. Noah Cantor wrapped him up, and down he goes.
Well, you talk to the coaches around the league, and a lot of them will say the same thing about Noah Cantor. Noah Cantor could start on a lot of teams in this league. And Noah Cantor, he's right over the middle. Jamie Kreisel, good sidestep, good feet, and then makes a tackle, because if he doesn't make that one, Dave Dickinson is still running, probably picks up more than the first down. And that's a lot of depth. We talked about the fullback position for the BC Lions. They have depth there. They have depth at receiver, and they have depth on that defensive line.
Cantor's gotten the opportunity to play because Dave Chaters has been bothered with a back injury. Here's Rod Harris. On the punt return, gets away from a couple of tackles. Looking for more room, not going to get it. A 36-yard punt. And the BC Lions will set up camp just around their 15-yard line. 7-0 Calgary.
2 on the return.
You know, Teresa Cruz used to live here in Calgary. You can bet she's watching this one back in the newsroom and getting ready for TSN Sports Desk, which will follow this game. There are these stories they're watching. They're going to preview Game 2. Dave Hodge, Pat Tabler, Buck Martinez down in Atlanta. Another CFL game on the go, Saskatchewan and Hamilton.
Teresa likely dressed warmer than those three.
I think so. David Allen feeling some pressure. Ball is picked off. Yes, sir. They're talking it over. One says yes, the other says no.
Well, they're bringing another one in to find out. They needed the third one. Now they want to get away because they're hearing all the Stamps say yes.
And Wally Buono wants to get in on the conversation as well.
And I think they're going to say yes.
Calgary football.
The question was to whether or not William Hampton kept his feet in bounds when he caught that one on the sideline. You only need 1 foot.
Oh, boy.
Man, I don't know.
That's close.
I mean,
Maybe it was just he was in the shadows. I can't tell.
Hey, there's the foot right there. Now, is that foot in bounds? Because that's the first one that touches. I don't know. This guy has the great look at it. So we got to give him the benefit of the doubt because there are some shadows down there, but Hampton's got it. The Calgary Stampeders have the football. That's number 8 for William Hampton.
It's in the books now. 8 interceptions for Hampton, who's having a fantastic season, and Dickinson starts from the 36. Lots of time. Dave Chaters is after him, and Dickinson has to throw that one away before Chaters dropped him.
Okay, this is coverage. I mean, you're talking about coverage downfield, because how many steamboats are you going to give a quarterback to throw the football? Like Dave Dickinson, after standing back there as long as he did, had to throw it away.
And that's the 3-minute warning. This game's starting to heat up again, but it remains 7-0 Stamps. Back in a moment. All right, final 3 minutes of the first half here in Calgary. The Stampeders with a 7-0 lead at home, and a great opportunity here to capitalize for more. They're on the 36, but it's 2nd and 10.
Please reset the game clock to 2:58.
They got to add 3 seconds to the game clock. That's the delay right now.
Which they will do. So far, Dave Dickinson, 10 of 17 for 94 yards passing. The touchdown came along the ground from Dwayne Ford. It was a strong opening drive. He's thrown it a lot. Another shotgun. Here comes the pressure. He gets away from it once, twice. The ball is loose. And BC has got it. Johnny Scott.
Scott got the football. He looks like he's injured as well on the play. He tried to scoop it up on the run, and when he did, he got hit in the legs. He's down. David Benefield makes the play on the snap of the football. He's the guy who flushes David Dickinson. You're going to see him. Watch Benefield come to the right of Dickinson. He sees him coming. He's going to flash right from right there. That makes him step up. Then once he's up in the pocket, he drops the ball. It goes down. Johnny Scott punched it out of there. See how he tried to pick it up? And then he took one from Jay McNeil right in the middle of the back. Benefield is the guy who makes the play. See, Johnny Scott knocks it out of there, and he recovers it. But Benefield makes the play on the snap of the football. Watch this. You're going to see Benefield. Watch how quickly he is in the backfield. Watch David Benefield on this rush. See him get upfield? Rip move. Now, see, Dickinson doesn't have time to set up. He's got to step up. Now it's scramble time, and Scott strips it out of there.
However, we still have Johnny Scott down on the field. There's also a stamp down. For sure, there's Johnny Scott. We think number 50, Jay McNeil, is down on the turf as well.
McNeil was the one who hit Johnny Scott right in the back. He was trying to scoop up that football and run with it. McNeil hit him, and McNeil also went down. They're lying side by side.
Yeah, you can see the 50 in there. And the trainers rushed out there in a hurry, so we'll wait and see what happens here and take a quick break. 2:42 to go in the first half. 7-0 Calgary. You know, Glenn, we are over a month away from the Grey Cup in Vancouver. They've already sold 27,000 tickets a month in advance. That's pretty good in Vancouver. If you're interested, all across Canada, here are the numbers and the website address.
27,000, and they're selling, what I understand, about 2,000 to 2,500 a week. And Jay McNeil is just now getting up on his feet. They wanted to be very careful with Jay McNeil. He kind of jammed his neck when he hit Johnny Scott, so they probably want to check all that out, make sure he was okay. Johnny Scott got up a little earlier than that, and he's sitting over on the bench. Now, he limped off, so they're going to check out. Looks like his left leg.
Couple of veterans in their 6th years, but it's BC Lion football. 1st and 10 from the 43. Allen hands off to Robert Drummond. He's over the 50, around the 52-yard line, and Robert Drummond starting to rack up the yardage again.
It's really not a surprise that the BC Lions are attacking the defense in Calgary along the ground simply because Alondra Johnson isn't in the middle of that defense right now. You know, Alondra Johnson is the guy who sets the tone for them, and right now they're going with Jason Clement and Kevin Johnson, the youngster. So it's not a surprise that the BC Lions are going to test the linebacking core in Calgary to see if they can stop the run.
2nd and 3. The ball goes to Drummond again. He bounces off that tackle, but Kevin Johnson was not going to let him get away. And the rookie linebacker out of Ohio State stop that play.
And you can see the frustration in Robert Drummond's eyes. See 44, one step to the counter, then he comes around his block and is in the backfield. The play is made because at the point of attack, there was really nothing. So the defensive line in Calgary plugged up the hole. Mike Roach got his linebacker flowing to the football. And when you can't block the middle linebacker, he can make some plays.
Mike Roach, a former assistant with the BC Lions. His defense is stepping up large in this big game against his old team. Louis kicks it out of bounds again, away from the receivers. That's where the Stamps will come back.
Well, the Stamps have played this second quarter about as good as they can. I mean, the only thing that they'd want more is a couple points.
Yeah.
But other than that, they really are against the wind playing a great quarter of football.
That's why that last turnover really hurt. They're playing against the wind. They're in good position. It was a 2nd and long. But the turnover, you would have liked to have at least given Mark McLaughlin an opportunity to kick a field goal.
Well, they've had the ball back in their own end a couple of times with the wind in their face, and you get a 2 and out on defense if you're thinking from a BC Lions perspective, and you're putting points on the board after 1 or 2 first downs in field goal range right away because of the wind factor. So Calgary can keep moving the football out of their end of the field. They're doing something.
Here's Dickinson on first down. That ball's complete to Travis Moore, who's having a nice season for the Stamps. Close to the first down marker. They got it.
It'll be the first time in Moore's career that he's up over 1,000 yards, and he's going to get there this year. And, you know, he has made not only 1,000 yards in receiving this season, but he's also made big catches in key situations for the Calgary Stampeders.
He's 1 yard shy of 1,000 right now, and he's been doing more with the ball after the catch because he has fewer catches last year than he did last year. That's Rock Preston out of that backfield. Number 14, the rookie, Rock, with a nice little run.
Well, when you're Rock Preston, you can be as good as you can be, and it won't matter because Kelvin Anderson is on your team. And you know, but all you can do is when you get your opportunity, you can make it happen. And he got a big block from Rocco Romano, kicked out Jason Kralt, and all of a sudden there was a huge hole there, and Rock Preston took advantage of it.
So it's another first down for the Stamps at the 45. Straight up the middle. Boy, you can hear that equipment just crunching in there. Gain of about 6. Preston again. His opportunities don't come that often, as you mentioned, when you got Kelvin Anderson there, but he's been able to take advantage.
Well, you know, and you talked about the depth that Greg Mons has. Well, Wally Bono has some depth on offense as well. When you think that Rock Preston can go in for Kelvin Anderson and get a couple big plays for you, that's depth. It's depth at a key position.
And we've already seen their depth at quarterback this season. It's actually amazing. Right over the middle for Danielson. Danielson's over the 50 before he is gang tackled. They know the type of damage he can do, and they're not going to let him run with it after the catch.
Danielson is across the Lions' 50-yard line.
Just for the record, Kelvin Anderson isn't injured on the sideline. He's just taking a little bit of breather.
Changing it up a bit. Vince Danielson came into this game 10th in CFL receiving yardage in his 6th year with the Calgary Stampeders, from Vancouver, former UBC Thunderbird. Another first down. Good drive going here for Calgary. That ball is caught. Travis Moore right at the 25. Inside of Dave Donaldson on the coverage.
See, Dave Donaldson has him lined up properly, but Travis Moore uses his feet. Watch how Travis Moore will work to the inside to get inside position before he crosses his face. See, the receiver wants to get inside him. See that little move to the out? That got Dave Donaldson to turn his shoulders outside, and then he couldn't get his hips and shoulders back around in time to catch up to Travis Moore. That's just a great pass pattern and man-to-man coverage down the field. Travis Moore with a little shake and bake right at the cut, and that puts him over 1,000 yards.
He's been close before. He needed 1 yard. He got 24 of them. Not only does he eclipse the 1,000-yard mark, but he gets his team a huge first down. They're sitting at the 24-yard line.
You talk about a guy who's been around the league for 4 years, it starts to wear on you that you're a receiver and a good one and haven't had that 1,000-yard season yet. So congratulations to Travis Moore, well-deserved 1,000 yards on the year, and he's still got a lot of football to play before it's over.
A minute to go. 1st and 10, Calgary. Dickinson going into the end zone, looking for more, just a bit too far. Just a little too far. Raphael Ball with the coverage. Well, the boys are sitting back in the studio, James and Matt and Chris, watching this one closely. They'll have their thoughts with the Canadian Airlines at the half report.
Yeah, we'll take a look at maybe what can happen to change things up for the BC Lions offensively coming into the second half, because this Calgary defense done a pretty good job on them so far.
BC defense is doing a pretty good job as well. 2nd and 10. Out of shotgun, early movement. It looked like somebody jumped on the BC line, on the BC side of the ball.
Now, this is always hard to decipher. You have to be right on your game if you're an official to see. Well, they're saying it's against Calgary. You know what? Paul Lacoste really created some problems for that offensive line. He lined up in the middle and then he moved around a lot. And when he did, I think he got that offensive line in Calgary a little jumpy. You talk about guys having good seasons. Paul Lacoste in the middle of the BC defense will be their Rookie of the Year nominee. And, you know, in all estimation, he has a good chance of probably winning it. You know, Shad Chris here in Calgary.
Procedure. Calgary number 59. That penalty is declined. It's still 2nd down.
Shad Chris in Calgary is also having a good rookie campaign, but Paul Lacoste calls the defenses, and when you're the middle linebacker, boy, you control the tempo. And he's done a great job for the Lions.
So it remains 2nd down. Dickinson over the middle. Danielson again, and he's belted by Bo Lewis.
Oh, boy. Whoa.
You know, Bo Lewis put 2 great hits on both Pitts and Danielson the last 2 times these teams met. He gives away a little in size on these 2 big boys, but you saw the result.
If you don't like, if you're not getting fired up about this, you better check your pulse. I mean, look at this hit. Now, if you didn't move out of your lounge chair at home and jump up a little bit, check your pulse, because I have a feeling you're not going to find a pulse if you didn't.
Bad snap, but the play is whistled down.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it was whistled in.
Yeah. Mark McLaughlin's lining up for a 25-yard field goal.
And Dave Dickinson wasn't even in his stance yet. He wasn't even ready for the hold.
Time count violation. Calgary number 15. Still 3rd down.
Well, if there's a good penalty, that's a good penalty. Because they got the time count, but if they don't get the time count, the BC Lions likely have the football, and Calgary loses a chance for 3 points.
Yeah, they push him back a little bit, but you're right. At least they still have a shot to kick one. So now it will be a 35-yarder for Mark McLaughlin, having an excellent season, kicking field goals.
Looks like the wind has died a little bit.
And this one is wide. So they'll add a single, but both Passaglia and McLaughlin have now missed at that end of the field.
Well, see, Louis Passaglia kicked against the wind from around the same distance. He just tried to kick it normally and fell short. You know, Mark McLaughlin was standing on the sidelines. He saw that. He thought, okay, I got to jump with the ball a little bit, keep it down low, and try and drive it into the wind. And when he did that, he jumped too much at the football, and he yanked it to the left. You know, and these kickers are both veterans. So see, Louis now, he saw that one. He says, okay, you got to keep it low. Now they got to find somewhere in between. Don't kick it too high and don't drive it too much.
Only 4 seconds left on the clock for a quick injury report. Here's Sherry Hargrave.
Well, I just talked to Jay McNeil, and they were concerned about a neck injury, but they did all the tests, and he seems to have all his feeling, but he says he definitely got his bell rung, and he certainly won't remember the conversation I just had with him.
Well, I guess the good news is that it is not a neck injury. One more play to Robert Drummond. And that is it. So, an eventful first half, I guess you could say, but not a lot of points. It's 8-0 Calgary at the half. Here's CFL Control and James Duthie.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the half. Brought to you by Canadian Airlines, a member of One World.
All right away, one quick note about that Mo Lewis hit. Mo, from all of us, we know it was a good hit. Leave the helmet on. Really bugs me. Lions averaging a solid 26 points a game so far this season. They come up with the big bagel in the first half. Now, we talked at length before the game about Kelvin Anderson and the type of amazing season he's having, but it's not just all the yards and that, Matt, is it? He does a lot of little things well.
Yeah, he does. You know, not only does he lead the league in yards from scrimmage and does he lead the league in combined yards, he's second in the league in rushing, and he's got 39 catches on the year. All those things are very obvious, but look at what the little things he does. He steps up right here. You see Kelvin Anderson, he sees Raphael Robinson coming up on the blitz right there. He simply just steps up right in this area and does the little things for Dave Dickinson to throw the football down the field. That's a little thing. That's unselfish play, critical opportunity for Dickinson to get the ball away, and Pitts moves the chains. And then he does what he does best, runs downhill and gets some quick yards, gets up into the hole, follows his blockers, and gets a critical first down for the Stampeders. So Kelvin Anderson is doing a lot of little things. You got to love this guy. Last year's overlooked because Pringle had such a great season. This year, he's doing the little things, and he also, with the combined yards and all those other things, Chris, he's an outstanding player. He's fun to watch.
Hey, he's having a great year as an individual. In this game, the Calgary Stampeders, their best moments was the opening drive, a 10-play drive where the only touchdown was scored. That's a point of optimism because that tells me whatever George Cortez put in his package, they executed with efficiency and confidence. They have to be able to reproduce that again, because if I'm a BC Lion and I'm in the locker room and it's only 7-0 and I'm at McMahon Stadium, I'm happy. They're going to have an opportunity to come back and play, and they're going to have the wind advantage because it's their choice, and that win may determine the winner of this game, James.
Yeah, it's important in the coin toss in games like this, and they elected to defer, so BC probably will take the win in the fourth quarter. The defense is ruling this one so far 8-0. The Stamps lead it at the break. Dave Dickinson under pressure, but holding on to an 8-point lead. They are just a few minutes away from kickoff in Saskatchewan. Two teams going in absolutely opposite directions. The Riders have lost 6 in a row. Hamilton has won 6 of 8. And Matt Dunnigan, they're really starting to roll.
Yeah, they are. They're getting healthy at the right time, too, folks. Defensively, offensively, they're coming together. Special teams, we saw what Ozzie did last week. He's consistent. He's going to be there for him. The defense, look, here's an example of what I'm speaking of. Gonzalo Floyd, he's on the injured list. Who steps in for him? Tim Terry. Gonzalo's going to have a hard time getting back on the football field because Terry's playing so well. But when he does, it's just more depth. Mike Campbell goes off. Who comes on? Michael Philbrick. It's just amazing the talent and the depth they have. Mike McCarthy is doing a super job, James, of finding talent for this football team, and the coaches are putting him in the right situations.
On the other side, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have 3 games left in the season. Realistically, they probably have to win all 3, Chris, to make the playoffs. They may not even get in if they do that. Does this team have any chance at all to get in?
Well, it may backfire, but I'm going to have to say no. I mean, if I'm in Saskatchewan, they should really be rebuilding for next year. I mean, wouldn't it be great these last 3 games? Reggie Slack had an ultimate game. Mike Saunders ran for 600 yards in 3 games, 200-yard average. But even if they did that, they'd still have problems in winning football games. This team is dead last in stopping a running back, and they've been dead last in the statistical category for every single game this year. They need to find some linebackers that can truly play physically at the point of attack and can really take a running back out of the passing game by having the speed to do it. Problem is, it's hard to find. Eventually, Willie Pless has to retire. Eventually, he has to step down as a leader of that defense. More than anything else, they've got to find some key individuals in that football team to elevate them out of last place, because they're going to end up in last place again until they stop the run, James.
They absolutely need a lot of help. Double trouble, really, for Saskatchewan. Not only do they need to catch Edmonton, they also need to catch the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're one of our games next week. Remember, the Bombers can cross over now and make it in the West. They take on the Argos on Adidas Friday Night Football. 8 Eastern is the start time for that one. The Riders play the Eskimos in a key game Saturday. The CBC has that one. And Ticats and Lions also Saturday evening. And then the Alouettes and Stamps, a good one on Sunday. Want to go see any one of those games? Here are your ticket numbers. Write them down. Welcome back. Well, apparently for coaches, it's more than just setting offensive and defensive schemes. They also have to develop color schemes. The black uniforms are working so far for the Calgary Stampeders. Our Sherry Hargrave spoke to their coach, Wally Buono.
A little psychological warfare. You come out in your black uniforms, but you backed up that mean attitude on your first drive with a touchdown.
Well, again, our teams played well, and again, this is two very good football teams, and by no ways is the game over yet.
The wind doesn't seem to be bothering your team, though.
Well, we've been practicing it. We've had a lot of windy days here, and our guys have done a good job, and Tony's done a good job of putting with it.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
All right, there are your numbers. Calgary really dominating offensively, 10 more first downs than the Lions, and double the offense. The Lions only have 24 passing yards, very un-Lion-like in the first half, and also that reflects in the time of possession. Calgary has held the ball 5 minutes more than the Leos. All right, second half action is coming up. Remember, the wind has been a factor. The Lions should have it in the fourth quarter. This one has been rough and tough, as Robert Drummond found out several times in the first half.
Wally Buono's Stampeders have an 8-0 lead heading into the third quarter here at McMahon Stadium. Let's go down to the field now. Here's Sherry Hargrave with the head coach of the BC Lions.
As expected, Coach, a very emotional, hard-hitting game. What did you say to your team at halftime?
Well, we just got to regroup and come back, and we got 30 minutes to go find a way to win this football game. And we're only down 8-0. Take away their first drive. It's been pretty much a seesaw battle, but we've got to do a better job. We got to throw the football more effectively and get some points on the board. And we found a way to win. We were down 13 last game against them, came back and won. So 8 points. It's not like we're out of this football game, but we got to do a better job.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you, guys. They are not out of it, but for the first time this season, the BC Lions have been shut out for the first half of a football game. You saw the numbers from the first half. They were not pretty offensively for the BC Lions. There's Jimmy the Jet in to gather that kick from McLaughlin. From his own 20, gets over the 30-yard line.
Number 21 on the return. Brings it back 13 yards.
So Damon Allen's numbers, as we mentioned, not exactly, not stellar.
Yeah, and this is why people, when I mention that Damon Allen, and a lot of other people mention that Damon Allen should be considered an outstanding player, people look at those numbers and say, see, he'll put up a half like that where he throws for 24 yards. Compared to Dickinson's numbers, 148 yards. But Damon Allen is still in this football game. And watch for him to make big plays to get the BC Lions back in, and that's what he's done this year. That's what good quarterbacks do. The numbers really don't matter.
Here's Allen. Little swing out to Robert Drummond. Button heads with Kellogg and Jason Clemens.
Well, if you thought that they went in at halftime and decided, well, that's enough hard hitting in the first half. We don't need to really do any more hard hitting in the rest of the game. It didn't happen that way. They said, okay, well, that was a good way to start the tempo, and then Jack Kellogg says, well, let's just start it off the same way in the second half, and comes up and some plastic popping down there on that one.
No question about it. Pick up a 4. Long way to go to get just 4 yards, but it's 2nd and 6 from the 36-yard line. Allen putting it up to his left. The ball is picked off. Marvin Coleman's got it. And another interception for that Calgary defense.
Marvin Coleman made this play by preparation. I guarantee you Marvin Coleman has seen this play on film enough that he knows exactly what's going to happen. You're going to see him before the play starting to call out, and he just cuts underneath the pattern. See, he sees the pattern. Watch him run to the spot ahead of Alfred Jackson. See, he went to the break spot before Alfred Jackson did. That's called reading the mail before you even open it. Damon Allen throws the ball where he thinks Alfred Jackson should end up, and number 17 is standing there.
Damon Allen has now thrown 12 interceptions on the season. 5 of them have come in the last couple of weeks. Last 3 weeks. Now it's Dickinson to Anderson out of the backfield, wrapped up by the rookie Jason Krolt. Anderson, so far in this game, being used more as a receiver than a runner.
Well, to the average viewer, that may look like a pass out in the flat, tackle for minimal gain. I want to tell you how tough that is for Jason Kroll to make that play. I mean, that is a good tackle in the open field, because Jason Kraut is one-on-one with one of the best in the business at making you miss. And he got him on the ground.
And as a result, it's a gain of only 2. 2nd and 8. From the BC 47. Calgary trying to capitalize after that interception. And Alan Pitts is hit hard.
Alan Pitts, number 18, the intended target.
Oh, boy. The plastic is popping. Scott Thomas, a newcomer, he got his introduction to Calvin Anderson earlier, and now he wants to now let the receiving corps know that he's around. Number 25 is going to step up and put one on Alan Pitts. Dickinson was rushed a bit, so he didn't get that one off on time, and Pitts went all the way across the field. But again, another big hit.
And another good defensive play by a rookie.
I don't think these two teams are going to send Christmas cards to each other.
I don't think so. I don't get that idea. I don't get that feeling. Tony Martino punting it away. Jimmy the Jet. There's the flag down. And they are doing a fantastic job wrapping up the top return man in the CFL. We'll sort out that flag when we get back. It remains 8-0. We're early third quarter.
Well, Jimmy the Jet has been contained pretty well, but on this play, one guy's going to get 2 penalties. See Aldi Henry, number 9 right there. He's caught inside the 5-yard zone, and then to make matters worse, he's going to chase down Jimmy the Jet and then grab him by the face mask. So they called Roger Ryanson on the no yards, but there's actually Aldi Henry getting both penalties, and pretty good field position now for the BC Lions.
Tack on 20 yards, so yeah, you're right. If you are wrapping up the Jet, that's one thing, but then to take penalties like that kind of negates the special teams coverage. So it's 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line for Damon Allen, who's really got to get things going now.
Well, it's one of our keys, Dave, going in for the Calgary Stampeders. No bad penalties, and you know, coming into the game, they average about 103 yards in penalties per game, and everyone gets penalties, but you don't want the bad ones.
The handoff to Drummond.
And when I talk about bad ones, I'm talking about the ones after the whistle blows, the dead ball fouls.
Yeah.
You know, and right now in the first half, the Calgary Stampeders had 2 of them. You know, and then Aldi Henry gets those 2 penalties back-to-back to give the Lions a ton of yardage, a ton of field position.
They average 103 yards of penalty yardage against per game. They've already surpassed last season's total.
Yeah, and they were the worst in the league last year.
And head coaches hate that. 2nd and 7 from the 47. Allen barking out the commands. Here comes the pressure. He was not going to get away. Jermaine Miles is in there. He danced away for as long as he could, but everywhere he looked, there was a black jersey.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was amazing that he got away at all. Like, I mean, he dodged a couple of bullets and then got hit by the 3rd one because they were flying all over the place. Just good all-around pressure from the front 4. Chad Crisp from the secondary comes off the edge, so Damon Allen has to avoid that one first. Mo Eluanibi got a piece of him. He got away from Jermaine Miles, but the 3rd bullet got him.
Here's Lou punting with the wind to Marvin Coleman. Coleman, who just had an interception. Not much of a return on a 50-yard punt from Louis. We need some points in this ball game, Glenn. Well, we have a defensive struggle on our hands here today, just like they had back on August 5th at McMahon Stadium. In fact, I think you pointed out that's a barn burner compared to what we have so far today.
Well, that's what, and they were here in McMahon for that one, 13-9. No touchdown scored in that game. We've only seen 1 so far from the Calgary Stampeders here today.
From their own 25, Brock Preston getting the rock a little bit today, and he's up over the 30-yard line.
Now, both teams are running the ball a lot in this game, and the wind can be a factor there, but running in the league overall is up this year. Most of the teams in the league are going back to the running game. Talked to the BC Lions before the game. They're saying that they're running around 45% of the time, and in the CFL, that's almost unheard of, to be running almost half of their plays along the ground.
Well, Rock picked up 9 on that play, so it's 2nd and 1. Preston again. Looks like he's pretty close. Dave Chaders was in there trying to stuff the run.
Well, yeah, and if you're the Calgary Stampeders and George Cortez game planning for the BC Lions. They have a pretty good defense, pretty good front three, and you throw in David Benefield, who's having a great year. They're tough, but they're giving up 120 yards per game along the ground this year, which is worse than a year ago. So, you know, George Cortez looks at those numbers, and despite the fact there's some pretty big names on that front three and front four when you bring Benefield into the picture, he still wants to try and pound the football. And when you're playing against a defense that gives up 120 yards a game, you feel like going in that you really have a chance. And George Cortez, game in and game out, puts together a darn effective game plan.
And George Cortez deserves a lot of credit as well, because he lost Jeff Garcia, was without Fred Childress, had to work with a new young starting quarterback, yet their numbers offensively are still right there.
Yeah. You know, and when you talk about head coaching jobs in the near future around the league, one of the names that should come up is George Cortez's name. You know, and there's been other assistant coaches here in Calgary that have moved on to head coaching jobs around the league. You think of the John Huffnagels of the league, and Huffnagel, of course, now with Cleveland in the NFL. But George Cortez coming up the next couple of years will likely get a head coaching offer, and he deserves one.
First down for Dickinson. Little play action, Keats throws. He's got Travis Moore at the 50. Driven back, but he picks up a first down on the play. Let's go back downstairs. Sherry Hargrave along the sidelines.
It's definitely Rock Preston's turn to shine. I just talked to Calvin Anderson. He sprained his ankle 2 weeks ago in Toronto, and he banged it again today, and he says absolutely there's no way he'll be back in this game today.
Whoa. That's a big loss.
Well, we knew something was up.
Yeah. Well, when he first went over there, he had the equipment on and the helmet on, and he was walking around. It didn't look like he was limping, but if it's an old injury that's bothering him, they don't want to make it any worse.
And that play was stuffed before it even began.
See, they don't want to make this any worse. Now, whether or not Calvin Anderson, if this was a playoff game, Calvin Anderson is likely retaping that ankle and is back in the football game. But at this point in the season, right now, what you want to do is make sure that you have him when you need him most, and that's in the playoffs. So they're not going to take any chances with Calvin Anderson.
And you can bet this hurts him. You know he wants to play in this game, because the last time they met, September 25th, it was a fumble by Anderson as he was on his way into the end zone that really turned the tide in the fourth quarter. BC came back and won that ball game 21-20. Second and 13 after the loss of 3. Complete. Alan Pitts wrestled that ball away from Raphael Robinson, which is no easy task.
You want to know why Alan Pitts is the CFL's all-time leading receiver? Why Alan Pitts, the year that he becomes the all-time leading receiver, also is leading the league this year in receptions? Watch him fight for the football at the end of the play. You can't cover any better than this. Raphael Robinson thought he had an interception, but Alan Pitts took it away from him.
That's a play.
That's your athlete beating the other athlete, and you're beating a good one in Raphael Robinson.
That's a play right there. First and down, the handout goes to Preston, who came into this game with just 99 yards rushing, and he is going to be counted on here.
You know, it amazes me. A second and long situation, and you're going to go to Alan Pitts, who is covered like a blanket. Dave Dickinson still has the confidence to throw it in there, and why? Because year in and year out, game in and game out, number 18 will come up for it. He'll come up and get the football for you, whether it's a jump ball and a long pass, or right there that you saw the play before where he fought for that football and won the fight.
It's been a record-breaking season for Alan Pitts. Second and 6. Dickinson to pass again, over the top, looking for more. He was open, but the pass was too far. And Dickinson knows that's a missed opportunity there.
Well, and he had Alan Pitts down the sideline, and had he gone to Alan Pitts, he might have had a touchdown. That one didn't miss by much, but boy, what a year Pitts has had. And we talked about the great play he just made to move that football, move the sticks one more time for Calgary. And, well, this is the year that Alan Pitts became the all-time leading receiver in Canadian Football League history, passing Ray Elgar.
And he's closing in on another game in which he catches over 100 yards. He's got 60 of those in his great career. And the Stamps are 51-9 in those games. Here's a fake punt. Tony Martino looking for the first down. He's got it.
Wow. You say it, you know, we've said it before. In every football game, and the great coaches tell you this, there are 1, 2, or 3 plays that turn the game, that make the game and make the difference. The problem is you don't know which 3 it's going to be. Tony Martino made one of them right now. I'm telling you right now, Tony Martino just made one of them. Now, if the Calgary Stampeders make the next 2, they win the game. But this is a big play from the punter. Heads up, you know, Tony Martino saw something the couple plays before this. The last few times he's been punting, he had to see that because he didn't hesitate. He grabbed that football and started running.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Stamps, trying to take advantage one more time. Travis Moore, far side. Picks up maybe 7 more. And Moore is having himself another big day.
One of the BC Lion defenders grabbed his knee immediately. The pass goes out to Travis Moore. It was Reggie Carthon. Reggie Carthon, he was the first guy at the point of attack, just missed Travis Moore, and he was rolling around on his knee, and they're checking him out right now. He was in a lot of pain down there.
So while they tend to him, we will take a quick break. The Stampeders on the move. Back in a moment.
They looked at Reggie Carthon's left knee and his ankle, but he's being carried off, which is bad news for BC Lion fans. This is Reggie Carthon right here. He breaks up on Travis Moore, and just as he slips there, he goes down, grabbed that left leg immediately. Initially, I thought he grabbed his knee, but they did check out both his ankle and his knee while he was down on the field, and when you get carried off like that, obviously not good news. We'll have to try and patch up that secondary with Carthon out of it.
The Stampeders picked up 6 on the play, 2nd and 4. Brock Preston, first down and more inside the 20-yard line. The Stamps have been deep before in this game, and they've come away empty-handed. Now they're inside the 20 one more time, the red zone, and they're looking to capitalize.
Watch a good slide blocking here. Watch Ron Meyer. Rocco Romano kicks out. A good cut at the point of attack by Rock Preston to go back to the hole. That's pretty good vision from your tailback, your backup tailback.
The rookie out of Florida State gets a first down from the 19. Dickinson goes to Preston again. He's become the go-to man. Spins off of one tackle, but Paul Lacoste is there to make sure he doesn't get any further.
Sorry, Dave. Alan Pitts was open again to the out pattern, and we mentioned that he broke the record this year. This was the game against the Edmonton Eskimos. Nothing fancy about this one. Alan Pitts to the sideline. He went on and had a touchdown in that football game. Calgary won it. That was the play that put Alan Pitts over the top and made him the all-time leading receiver in CFL history past Ray Elgart.
Pitts had a touchdown catch last week in Regina, but he's been kind of openly vocal about the fact that the Stamps have not been coming to him in this situation. Dickinson, nobody to get to, and he's dropped. Johnny Scott.
In fairness to, you know, offensively, George Cortez and Dave Dickinson, when it comes to getting Alan Pitts the ball in the red zone, sometimes down there, Alan Pitts is double covered. And you know, and if I'm playing defense, I'm putting 2 guys on number 18 when you're in the scoring range.
Maybe 3.
Yeah. So when you're double covered, you just don't go there. Now on this play, Pitts is on Dale Joseph, and I've felt all year that Dale Joseph is one of the best cover guys in the game. So, you know, he had a little bit of traffic in there, and Dave Dickinson had nowhere to go with the football.
It's a 26-yard attempt for Mark McLaughlin. Trying to add 3 more points, and this time he is good. So finally, we have some more points on the board, and it's 11-0 Calgary.
They're big points for a couple reasons. One, obviously, they make the lead an 11-point lead. But the bigger thing, the bigger story to me in this situation is that they did it against the wind. They've moved the football. They've had the football the whole time. And in the fourth quarter, the long quarter, Calgary Stampeders are not going to have the wind at their backs. And that's a pretty stiff wind to be kicking into. So You know, they're making plays, they're moving the football, and they're controlling the game when they have the wind in their face in the third.
7 out of the last 9 years, Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders have finished first in the Western Division. If they lose this game today, it's over. The BC Lions have first. They will host the West Final. If the Stampeders win it, they keep their hopes alive. They remain, or they will tie them for wins and losses, but remember, BC has the tiebreaker there, so they would have to beat them outright in the win category.
Right, and you know, basically, it's one win for the BC Lions and a loss along the way for Calgary, and that's it. The Lions take first. It doesn't have to be this game, because they do have that series. When you look at the last 2 weeks of the season, Calgary plays Montreal, and then they go to Hamilton and have to play in Hamilton. BC in the last 2 weeks play at home against Saskatchewan and at home against Hamilton. So the schedule favors the Lions in some ways. And that's no slight against Hamilton.
McLaughlin puts it in the air. Taken by the Jet. Jimmy the Jet, don't let him get going. A few teams have let him get away, and he's burned them big time, but so far the Jet has been neutralized. Here is the look graphically at the fight for first in the West.
Yeah, Stampeders will get the, let's say they get the win here, and I'm certainly not giving it to them with a quarter and a bit to play, but you get Stampeders, they move to 22 points. Now they have to outright beat the Lions in the standings. There's the schedule remaining. So the Lions have the 2 home games. Hamilton, Saskatchewan. BC, of course, leads the series. That means that the Stampeders have to win in the standings in points. They can't tie.
First and foremost, the BC Lions got to start moving this football. Another swing pass to Jimmy the Jet. He's close to a first down. Now, of course, first place in the West and hosting that Western Division final, nobody knows better than the Calgary Stampeders. That doesn't always mean a straight path to the Grey Cup. Only 3 Western Division champs since '87 have gone on to the Grey Cup. Each time it has been Calgary, and they've only won 2 of them in '98 and '92. The last time BC won the West was way back in 1987. They went 12-6 that year and lost to Edmonton in the Western Final 31-7. Here's Allen. He's got Drummond.
David Allen passes complete for Robert Drummond, number 29.
That was just a play to try and change things up, but the Calgary defense wasn't fooled. When you're second in the yard and you pull it out of there, you're expecting the Calgary defense to think run all the way and get caught with a little play action. Didn't work, and Damon Allen just barely got it out to get the first down.
It's their first down here in the third quarter. Something for them to build on. Nobody in the backfield. Allen sprints out to his right, and he's going to keep sprinting. He's got the first down across the 50, close to the 45.
Just want to make a point in this drive to start to get this first down in the third. They started it out with a little hitch pass out there to the Jet. The progression off the hitch pass is to fake it and go deep with it. So we'll watch for that as the fourth quarter is around the corner. Try and get the Jet the ball in a couple of hitch passes, then pump it to him and throw it deep to the other receivers, Alfred Jackson and Rod Harris.
First and 10 from the 47. Allen with 3 to the far side. And there's all kinds of heat, led by number 93, the rookie Mark Pilon.
Damon Allen audibled at the line of scrimmage. When he did, Jimmy the Jet heard the audible, turned outside to tell Alfred Jackson, the wide receiver, what the new play was. When he did that, the ball was snapped and he had his back to the ball. See, the Jet's over here. Now he's got his back to Damon Allen. See, Damon Allen looks over there and the Jet's not looking at him.
And Allen's in trouble again. Wrapped up right back at the line of scrimmage by the rookie Kevin Johnson. And that drive is over. The Calgary defense making another statement here in the late stages of the third quarter.
Kevin Johnson really having to step up his game with Alonja Johnson out of the lineup. When you're playing middle linebacker against Damon Allen, you oftentimes will be told that you're the spy. You take your job, but you never take your eyes off the quarterback. He flew up there and made the tackle.
And Louis kicks it into the end zone. And out. So that's where the Stampeders will start. They'll get good field position right off the bat. The BC Lions cheerleaders made the trip for this one. The Lions have finally gotten on the board. They'll take it any way they can get it at this stage.
See, that's the rivalry. Even the cheerleaders are competing.
Dickinson on play action from the 35. After the single by Louis Passagle, he was looking for Pitts. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Yeah, you know when the cheerleaders are getting into the rivalry. That's a rivalry right there.
Yeah. They didn't go to the press conference either.
No, I think they held separate press conferences.
The cheerleaders had held separate press conferences.
They would not.
They didn't want to
cooperate.
And now they're just competing every break.
So 2nd and 10. The BC Lions looking for their defense to hold one more time. Here comes some pressure. Dickinson gets away and throws it away because Herman Smith was after him. All kinds of heat coming.
And David Benefield. And you know what? David Benefield is having a year. And I don't care what people say. David Benefield, to me, is got to be coming out of the West. He comes off the edge. Now, he's not going to be blocked by scheme on this play. Dickinson gets outside, but he has forced Dickinson to throw the ball away about 4 times in this game. He doesn't have the sack, but he is forcing the issue with Dickinson on a lot of plays.
And before this game, David Benefield was very vocal in a lot of the old trash talking, calling Wally Bono arrogant. The Jet is driven back by that booming punt, and he's bringing it back. A 51-yarder from Tony Martino. The Jet did well just to get it back to where he caught it. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter. It's 11-1 Stampeders. Let's send you back to Toronto. Here's James Duffy.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by Toyota Canada and its dealers.
Well, if the Stamps defense keeps this up, then the loss of Calvin Anderson won't matter at all in the 4th quarter. But the guy is a CFL Outstanding Player candidate, and you know, especially when you need to run the ball in the 4th quarter, you need a guy like that. How big a loss is it, Chris?
Well, it will be a huge loss if the ankle injury is something significant over the period of time, because this is late October going into November. Rock Preston is a very capable substitute, was competing with Calvin Anderson directly for that starting position. They stayed with Anderson. But I'll tell you what, I have to make a comment on the playing service at this stadium. It's ridiculous. I think of Henry Burris. I think of Eddie Davis. I'm not mistaken, non-contact injuries. I think of Glenn Young for Toronto, who ended his year on a non-contact injury. It goes on and on and on, the number of players. Through redirection, we just saw it with Reggie Carthon, either have their knee injured, the cartilage, the MCL, the ACL. I think it's ridiculous. This turf is going to be here for another 10 years, Matt, and I know you agree with me. Why can't we have grass playing surfaces?
Well, yeah, it's
awesome.
Difficult to keep them conditioned up here, though, late in the season. But I think we're speaking about turf in general, aren't you, Chris? Yeah, well, that's tough, and it's tough to go out that way. But look what's happening to BC right now. They're fixing to have to go against the wind. They're down 11-1. We saw a low-scoring game back August 5th of this season. It was 13-9 BC. They're going to have to really step up big. I look for their defense to have to come up for some points, because their offense right now is null and void.
All right, one other game in the CFL this afternoon. The Hamilton Tiger Cats taking on Saskatchewan. Hamilton leads it by 1 point. Paul McCallum has a 58-yard field goal, but Ronald Williams has his 12th TD of the season. That leads the league. Let's get back to Calgary.
Wally Bono has a 10-point lead heading into the 4th quarter. His team will be working with the wind, which right now has kind of died down.
Yeah, it has died, and usually the home team knows that. Usually the home team knows how the wind is going to go, and the flags were... They've dropped a little bit.
That's local knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So now David Allen will begin going into that wind, if there is any. A 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Eddie Brown, following his block, picks up a 1st down.
Well, here's what happens. Shad Chris comes from the secondary blitz, and when he does, he vacates the area that Eddie Brown's going to catch the football. See, he's covering. You're going to see Shad Chris flash from this side of the screen. When Damon Allen recognizes it, see, there's 28 coming. Now, see, there's no one out there. 28 should be over here. He's not there. See, so now Eddie Brown has a lot of room before Coleman can finally force him out with the help of Greg Frères.
There's a bad snap picked up by Robert Drummond. And Drummond gets back to the line of scrimmage after what was looking like a disaster for the BC Lions.
Whoa, heads up by Robert Drummond. I mean, big time, and then got a yard out of it, I believe.
Yeah. They've gotten a lot of breaks. You know, they've had some breakdowns offensively. I think of 2 fumbles that they recovered in the first half. There they are on 2nd and 8. Allen being chased by Jeff Travis. He gets away, but he is going to be short of the first down. And once again, the Lions stall in their end of the field.
Yeah, they haven't looked real sharp. And you talked about a couple of breaks they've had. They fumbled the ball a couple times, recovered it on their own. Robert Drummond on that first play somehow got the ball back, but they haven't been real sharp. But this has been the story sometimes this year for the BC Lions. They stick around and then win it somehow. And that's why they've won 11 games this year.
Yeah, they have won some that they really didn't have a whole lot of right to win. I'm sure people in Edmonton will say last week was one of those games. The Edmonton Eskimos took a lot of bad penalties and handed one to the Lions in overtime. But this one's got 13:51 to go. It's 11-1.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old, when only the finest will do.
Well, there's a little over 31,000 here at McMahon Stadium. A beautiful afternoon. The ball game hasn't exactly been a thriller, but as far as they're concerned, their team is up by 10, and they've got the football at their own 29-yard line. With the wind at their back, Dickinson. Goes to Rock Preston. And here are the numbers after the 3rd quarter of play, brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
That's the biggest one in my mind right there. Calgary, 10 minutes more of time of possession, and that BC defense that's on the field right now starts to get a little more tired.
Not to mention just 120 yards offense from the BC Lions, 180 less than Calgary.
When you get tired, you miss tackles and you miss assignments.
On 2nd down, Dickinson. Somebody missed an assignment or missed a route there.
Well, you know, I guess it could work the other way, too. Calgary's offense has been on the field a lot more than the BC Lions, and maybe they're a little tired because that time Travis Moore zigged and Dickinson thought he was zagging.
We mentioned 31,258. That's the attendance here at McMahon Stadium. 7 out of 8 games so far here in Calgary have been over 30,000. They're hoping for a big crowd in Vancouver for the Grey Cup. If you are interested in going, there are the numbers in Vancouver and across the country.
You know what? Write that number down if you're in Vancouver, because even if Calgary's in the Grey Cup, a lot of the fans that are here, and they've been great fans this year, are going to make the trip.
Jimmy the Jet buried inside the 35. Damon Allen needs something right here, right now.
A 46-yard kick.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see if offensive coordinator Joe Powell started to stretch this Calgary defense a little bit in this 4th quarter, because the BC Lion receiving core right now have really been ineffective. Don Blair does not have a catch. Neither does Rod Harris. Jimmy the Jet has 1 catch. Alfred Jackson has 1 catch. At a certain time in the football game, you got to stretch the defense, send those guys deep and throw it up, see if they can make a play for it.
The Calgary defense has also burned Allen twice for 2 interceptions today. A little pump fake. Now he's going to stretch it. There he goes. There's the pass. He was looking for Rod Harris. There was double coverage, and the pass was long, and he's lucky it was.
Okay, remember when Jimmy the Jet ran that little screen pass? And I said the progression of the screen pass is to do this. Fake it, and then have this guy go deep. See, now this is what they're going to see. The fake hit, this time it's the Brown. See, he puts up his hand saying, I'm not catching the ball, we're just trying to get you. Greg Frères wasn't fooled, though. He's the safety. He played the deep one first, which is exactly what the way he should play it.
Greg Frères, former BC Lion, having a great season at the safety position for the Stamps. 2nd and 10 from their own 34. Allen pulls it down again. He's not going to get away.
You know, and the BC Lion fans at home right now are likely getting all over Damon Allen, and you know, why isn't he throwing the football? But Damon Allen cannot find someone downfield, and he will not force it. That's why he's been so good this year. He doesn't make bad decisions. He'd rather punt the football than throw it away. And I mentioned the receiving core for the BC Lions. Right now, they're not getting open in consistent bases, and if you're not giving your quarterback a target, he can't do it all by himself.
Well, earlier, Tony Martino had a huge punt into the wind. That one is not as huge for Louis Pasaglia. Marvin Coleman from his own 40. Doesn't get much, a 36-yard punt from Lou, and there was a flag on that play as well. Marvin Coleman has an interception today.
35-yard kick, but there's a flag over there.
Holding, Calgary number 33, first down.
Well, Wally Buono, we talked about all the controversy leading up to this ball game. There was all kinds of talk, and Wally Buono was a little upset that Greg Mons wouldn't join him for a pregame press conference, and this is what he had to say about it.
From my perspective, I'd like to see it as a league-wide mandate that you have to do it. You know, I understand sometimes there's the logistics of, you know, of travel and all that, but, you know, many a time myself and Ron Rook have gone into a city the night before so that we could be involved in a dual press conference. And, you know, that's my personal feeling, whether it's right or wrong. I believe that, and I think I've extended myself to go beyond that.
Ron Rook is the VP of Marketing and Media Relations. That's who he mentioned. And Greg Mons simply said, listen, since I've taken over as head coach of the BC Lions, I haven't lost to Wally, and we haven't had a press conference together yet, so why would I change anything? You know, and Wally's over there saying, well, I think it should be a league-wide mandated issue. But, you know, when it's all said and done, it really doesn't matter.
I know. It's, you know,
it's just a fun deal.
Exactly.
And I think, you know what, I think even both head coaches had some fun with the media, the media were just going crazy about this whole thing, thinking that this was just another way of kind of snubbing each other in the media conference. And I think both coaches were kind of laughing afterwards, saying, well, we stirred it up a little bit heading into this one. And
it's all about a little bit of hype. There's no question about it. And there has been some and a lot of talk on both sides, although the coaches have really kind of minded their P's and Q's heading into this one. They haven't provided any bulletin board material, really.
Well, you know what, though? Wally Buono says that this not beating Greg Mons doesn't matter to him. Wally Buono is a competitor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, I bet it matters. I mean, it can't not matter.
Well, right now they're in the driver's seat with a 10-point lead, and BC's offense basically ineffective to this point with 11 minutes to go.
Yeah, you really do almost get the feeling that if they're going to win this game, I'm talking about the Lions, they're going to have to do it with the play on defense. You know, and Joe Paopao is going to try and figure out a way to get his offensive receivers open. Because right now they're struggling.
And this is a 2nd and 10 situation for Dickinson from his 32. Stands in that pocket and delivers to Alan Pitts, short of the first down.
Well, it depends on where they mark, and he's going to get his forward progress. See, he's complaining right now. He doesn't like the spot. It's that close. See, when you turn around on your curl like Alan Pitts did, you want to get the ball. See, watch this. He's going to turn around right at the marker, and when he turns around at the marker, he wants to get the progress right to where he catches it right there. Now, he had to take a step. That's right in front of the 40-yard strike. The marker is right on the 41. And that's what he was arguing about. And they marked it back. Excuse me, the marker was on the 42. They marked it back around the 41, so they're a yard short. And Alan Pitts thinks he got jobbed a little bit on that spot.
He did not get the call, and Dickinson has left the game. Mike McCoy has come in at quarterback for the Stamps. 3rd and 1. That's why Dickinson goes out of the game. They don't want him making plays like that.
Yeah, McCoy's a little bit bigger, too.
Yeah. And Dickinson has taken enough hits over the course of this season. Here he comes back out.
Well, actually, I should say McCoy's a lot bigger. 6'3", 205 pounds, 210 pounds. Dave Dickinson at 5'11", 185. So you give it to the bigger guy. He takes that sneak, and you save one hit on the quarterback.
Done a great job, by the way. Coming in here for the Calgary Stampeders after Dickinson went down, and then Henry Burris went down. Here's Dickinson. A lot of time to throw the ball. Marcus Dowdell. His first catch of the ball game. Haven't seen number 8 so far. He gets involved here in the 4th quarter.
Well, they're optimistic here in Calgary about their stretch drive and possibly still having a chance at first place, because offensively they got a couple of guys in the season that should help them on the line. I'm talking about Thomas Raham and, of course, the big chill, Fred Childress. After his tryout in the States didn't work out for him, he's back, and they're playing on the same side together. So when they see that much poundage over there, they get pretty optimistic about the chances for their offense.
First down from the 54-yard line. Dickinson hands off to Rock Preston across midfield and a lot more. Close to the BC 40-yard line. Kelvin Anderson, in case you missed it, has gone out of this ball game with a slight ankle injury. They put in the rookie, Rock Preston, inserted him into the backfield, and they barely missed a step.
Yeah, and if you're a tackler, that's kind of like the view that you're seeing. And I just want to remind all the viewers that if you're a tackler, they don't slow down in slow motion when they're running for real. That was slow motion, and that looked fast. So just imagine when you're looking at it from ground level like that, and they're going full speed.
First down from the Lions 41. Again, lots of time for Dickinson, who threads the needle into Travis Moore.
Man, he did not have a lot of room to get it in there. Travis Moore, and they've been working the middle of the field a little bit on the newcomer, Scott Thomas. Travis Moore is just going to work into the middle of the field, and there wasn't a lot of room for this football to get in there. Coverage on one side by Raphael Robinson. Paul Lacoste broke on it, and that was pretty close.
And it's another first down. 7:38 to go. From the Lions 27, a handoff to Preston. You know, Rock Preston is a guy who really impressed way back in the preseason. In fact, he convinced Wally Buono that he just had to keep this guy. There's no way. He had a huge game against the Riders in the preseason with 118 yards rushing, including a big gallop for a touchdown.
Oh, he's having a good afternoon. Closing in on 100 yards.
He came in with 99 yards on the season. He may double that total in one game in relief of Anderson. Gain of 2 on that play. It's 2nd and 8 from the 25. Here comes the heat from Herman Smith. Dickinson lofts it up. Allen Pitts was there, but so was Dale Joseph. Joseph got one hand on it, but not the other.
Well, the question is, could he have got both hands on it? Because if he could have, it would have been a big play for the BC Lions. David Benefield took a bit of a gamble going inside on the pass rush. Now, could Dale Joseph, well, it would have been a very tough catch. That was way out in front of him.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure, and that's the progression. You're not really sure when you're breaking on the football like that where the receiver is, and you want to make sure you just knock it down.
Give some credit to Herman Smith on that play for rushing Dickinson, who's a pretty accurate passer. So a 32-yarder now for Mark McLaughlin, and this one is straight down the middle. 14-11. They stretch their lead to 13 points with 6:28 on the clock. Calgary in the driver's seat. Here's Allen for the first down. And that ball is nowhere near his intended receiver, and he was flattened. No flag on the play. Jeff Traversy.
Yeah, and Jeff Traversy, he's a guy we haven't talked a whole lot about in this football game. He's having a good one. You know, he's right in the middle of that defense, and he's really providing a lot of pressure on Damon Allen. And when the receivers for the BC Lions haven't been able to get open, it's been Jeff Traversy who's been back there harassing Damon Allen.
Tough day all around for number 9, White. 2nd and 10. Allen over the middle. He's got Don Blair for his first catch of the ball game. The former University of Calgary dinosaur gets a first down.
Working on Eric Sutton and Don Blair. Again, I talk about position on the DB. I mean, you got to get inside position. If you get inside position, then your body helps you. That's what you call a swim move. You hit that hand, swim over top. Eric Sutton is pretty close, but Don Blair uses his body to come over the catch.
Lions in the hurry up. Allen again going back to the air. Another completion going right back to Don Blair.
Yeah, and this is something that the BC Lions like to do, Damon Allen loves, is the hurry-up offense, because he feels like he can get a rhythm and he can get that defense on their heels. Joe Pow calls 90% of the plays for Damon Allen, but not when they're in the hurry-up.
The BC Lions have had a lot of success winning the hurry-up offense as well. Another first down. Allen to Blair for his 3rd straight catch. Over the 45, not a whole lot more.
You know, the defensive back, what it does in the hurry-up, defensive back starts to get a little bit tired. He doesn't have that break in between plays. So when you get tired in the secondary, you take a step backwards. You back up and give the receiver that 1 more yard.
Allen rolling out to his right. He's got another man wide open, and he threw it over top of Rod Harris. He had him open, and he missed him.
It is 3rd and 7.
And I think they may gamble here. 3rd and 7, and Greg Mons feels that it's
time to go.
Time to take a gamble and roll the dice. Down by 14-1, and you're facing the wind. The field goal is out of the question. You're out of field goal range. The wind has died, but it's still an awful long kick into a bit of a breeze. So Greg Mons is deciding to roll the dice here and see if he can come up with 7s.
There's 4.5 minutes to go. Clock is running. Big 3rd down play here. Allen out of the shadows. Here comes the heat. There goes the pass, looking for it all, and that ball is too far. There is a flag down on the field.
Well, I mean, it's depending on whether or not they were drawn offside, but the Calgary Stampeders came with the full blitz. They came with everybody. I mean, they decided to send the house at Damon Allen.
Offside. Calgary number 92. Repeat 3rd down.
And they were so pumped up about sending everybody, and I'm talking about everybody. They were so pumped up about it, they jumped offside. Steve Anderson got the call, but I believe there was a couple of guys up there in the neutral zone. So Mike Roach sends the house, and he gets caught. Gives the BC Lions 1 more crack at the 3rd down gamble. This time it's a lot shorter.
Yeah, a lot shorter. 3rd and 2. It's a much different situation now. Still a big play. Allen keeps. Robert Drummond catches that awkward shovel pass, and I don't know if he got there.
He's going to get 4. They're going to have to look at this one out. It's very close. Robert Drummond, I don't know how he came up with it. He gets his forward progress. Yeah, he got pounded. You see him trying to shake off the cobweb. He got pounded on the play, but it's not where he ended up. It's where he caught the football.
What happened? What happened on that play? I mean, why aren't they just giving it to Drummond right off the snap?
Well, it's still a long 3 yards to hand the football off and expect your running back to come up with it. And you got to keep in mind, this Calgary defense has really played well in this football game. So they tried to fake the play to Drummond, hope that would pinch him. It really didn't fool him, but there's the forward progress. And they got it by half the football.
They just got away with it. Routine, right, Greg?
That's called making it up a little bit as you go along for Damon Allen.
They'll take it. 3.5 to go. BC Lions fans wondering, where has this urgency been? Allen out of that shotgun, putting it up. He's got Alfred Jackson wide open, but again, it's too high.
Whoa, and he was hit hard, too. It was Mark Gunn's turn. Jackson was open on the sideline. That time wasn't the receiver. That time it was just pressure up front. Mark Gunn uses a great swim move. We saw Don Blair do it in the receiving corps.
So it's 2nd and 10 after the big play by Gunn. Allen shaking off the cobwebs, standing in there. The swing pass. The hit arrived just as the ball got there and busted the play. Eric Sutton.
Well, if they're going to go on at 3rd and 7, they're going to go on 3rd and 10. The ball is thrown way too far in front of the intended receiver, Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. So when Sutton's breaking up to make the tackle, Cunningham can't even get to the football. But if you're gambling on 3rd and 7, you're gambling on 3rd and 10. And right now, the BC Lions have decided to play 3-down football the rest of the way.
They have to. 3 minutes to go. They're down by 13. There still is a lot of time, but this could be the ball game. Too high. Looking for Eddie Brown and too high. Calgary takes over on downs. We're at the 3-minute warning, and the Stampeders hold them again. The Calgary Stampeders are 2 minutes and 38 seconds away from doing something they haven't been able to do this season, and that's beat the BC Lions. They're up by 13. They take over the ball on downs. Brock Preston with that rushing play.
Well, let's go back to the 3rd down gamble where Damon Allen tried to find Eddie Brown on the sideline. Drummond is going to have to slide out to take the blitzing Shad Chris off the corner, and when he does, he gets all tangled up with Allen. His left foot, right in the bottom there, got tangled up with Damon Allen's left foot. Allen could never fully step up into the throw and hit a wide open Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown was open when he made his break. Marvin Coleman broke over there late. Had Damon Allen been able to step up strong in the pocket, he may have delivered a strike, but he ran into his own guy.
Dave Chaters is the injured Lion down on the field. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Big Dave Chaters walking off slowly. It's been an injury-plagued season for Dave Chaters, who had off-season back surgery, and he's been bothered by burners and stingers all season long. It's limited his effectiveness for sure. 2:12 on the clock. It's 2nd and 7. Dickinson just gets that ball away. David Benefield laid the hit.
Well, the game is far from over with 2:05 left, and we've seen some pretty amazing comebacks in the CFL this year. Think back to Winnipeg and Montreal when Winnipeg scored twice. Less than a minute to play. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds to play. Wally Buono knows how they lost in week 12. They had a chance to win that one, lost late by 1 point. So there's a lot of football to be played with 2 minutes left.
Jimmy the Jet back to return or receive this punt, but the facts are, Glenn, with 2:05 to go, the BC Lions, for the 2nd straight week, are not playing very good football. As Jimmy the Jet has wrapped up. We're in week 16. Yes, they're 11-4 coming into this one, but they're not playing good football right now. And prior to their loss last week against the Edmonton Eskimos, a couple of the Lions had a couple of things to say. Eddie Brown, for one, he said there's been too much Grey Cup talk out of this locker room. And Alfred Jackson took it one step further. He said, you know what, if we had to play the Grey Cup game today, we would lose. And based on the way they're playing right now, you have to wonder whether they can even get there.
Well, I tell you what that is, though. That's veteran players realizing that until you've won the football game, you have a lot to play.
Number 49, Robert Drummond.
Robert Drummond, gain of about 5.
That's just guys in there in a veteran team saying, listen, don't talk about the Grey Cup. They actually brought the Cup in when it was in Vancouver, and the idea was to show the guys what they're fighting for around the mid-season mark. But there is too much talk in that BC room. They've got to beat a lot of good teams to get there.
Allen swings it out. They're going to get a first down on that play. Eddie Brown with a reception. 1:35 on the clock.
You know, but you're worried if you're a coach and the guys aren't saying that. You know what I'm saying? That you're worried if they don't realize that there's a lot of Grey Cup talk going on, and maybe they're becoming overconfident. If the veterans are recognizing it, you feel better.
Allen with a first down, almost picked off again. Eric Sutton was right there. It's his birthday today. He's already made one big play here in the fourth quarter. Almost made another one right there that surely would have sealed the deal.
Well, you got to give credit where credit's due, and it goes to the Calgary defense right now. They provided pressure consistently, and I think the secondary may be playing their best game of the year.
Allen on 2nd and 10. Trying to dance away from pressure. Not gonna happen. Darryl Hall finally wraps him up for a huge loss.
Well, if you're the Calgary Stampeders, you really needed this win. You really needed to come out and prove to yourself, you know, despite the fact that you feel like you're good enough to beat them, you got to beat them. You know, you got to win just so you know it. Now this makes for the great run to finish off the season and head into the playoffs. Now Calgary, if they continue the way they're playing for 1:17, win this game, and boy, we're going to have some fun when playoffs come around.
Louis kicks it away to Marvin Coleman. Marvin Coleman to the 45. Time now to show you the crunch of the game that is brought to you by Car Star Collision Repair Centers. They do a bang-up job every time. Call 1-800-CAR-STAR for your nearest location.
When these two teams play, you could pick from a bunch. This was in the first half when Bo Lewis hits Vince Danielson coming across the middle. We'll give Bo Lewis the crunch of the game this time, but when these two teams play, well, you could pick a bunch of them.
That's a good pop.
Oh, my neck got sore.
That is the Car Star collision of the game. Call 1-800-CAR-STAR. We do a bang-up job every single time. 1:05 to go. Rock Preston over the 50. So the Calgary Stampeders, you mentioned they had to beat the BC Lions to set things up for the postseason. If the score remains the same here with 1 minute and a second on the clock, not only, Glenn, have they beaten Greg Mons for the first time, they've dominated them.
Yeah, they have. And you know, we talked about the quotes from Eddie Brown and Alfred Jackson. Well, now Greg Mons has some ammunition. He can go in the meeting and say, you know what, those guys are talking about it, and you better be listening.
Rock Preston again. He has really stepped up.
You know, the rest of the team better be listening to Alfred Jackson and Eddie Brown, because there's a lot of football to be played, and the Calgary Stampeders are going to be in it, and you don't rule out anybody come playoff time. Whoever should make it in that third spot, whether it be the Edmonton Eskimos or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, you know, you can't take anything for granted, especially this year.
Boy, look at that smile right there from Wally Buono. And lo and behold, Wally and his team is still alive in that race for first in the West. They're going to run the clock out here. This will do it. They are now tied with wins, or will be in moments. And now it's a sprint to the finish. They both have a couple of games left. The Calgary Stampeders do have to win more than the BC Lions, but they can still wrap up their 8th first-place finish in the West in the last 10 years.
Well, and it makes the last 2 weeks of the regular season mean something for both teams, because they're still fighting. They're fighting for the break. You know what? And you know what? We got to give the game ball, the Adidas game ball, we got to split it up 12 ways this time. We're going to cut that game ball. We're going to take an Adidas game ball. We're going to cut it up into 12 pieces and give it to the Calgary defense. Allowed 1 point. Mike Roach is the coordinator, and boy, they put on a clinic here this afternoon.
They made the statement limiting BC to just 1 point. They get their first ever win this season, and they snap a 5-game losing streak against these BC Lions. Oh, it's going to be an interesting finish to this season. 14-1, the final in Calgary.
All right, right, James Duthie back at TSN Football Control. So this is where they stand right now. BC and Calgary in a dead heat, 11-5 each. Now remember, if they do end up tied at the end of the season, BC would win the tiebreaker because they did win 3 out of 4 regular season games against the Stamps. Edmonton at 5-11 in third. Saskatchewan still playing with Hamilton. We'll get you an update on that a little bit later. They're 2 games back, and remember, Winnipeg will also factor in. They have the same number of wins as Edmonton. They would have to finish ahead of Edmonton in the standings in order to get that playoff spot. But back to BC and Calgary. Here's what they have left. Dead even. The Lions, both games at home. They have the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That'll be a good one next week. Then Saskatchewan, which you figure should be a win for them. That would mean what the Stamps need to do is beat Montreal at home and then win in Hamilton and hope the Lions lose one of those games, probably the first one against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's the only way the Stamps would win the division. But they prove a point today in exactly what we talked about before the game. You lose 3 games, you have absolutely no, at least mental momentum going in, but Chris Schultz, all they needed was this one, and those 3 losses are all wiped out.
I think so. I mean, if you look at this game psychologically, if I'm in a Calgary Stampeder dressing room, I'm happy, especially if I'm a defensive player. 1 point against Damon Allen, against Robert Drummond, against all those receivers. Boy, I would be thrilled to death with these final 2 games. They have an opportunity to go into first place. And I wouldn't even doubt if they got it, because really the BC Lions have not played up to expectations, and they're not playing their best football at the most important time, late October, November. Calgary Stampeders should be very proud. They played a solid game. They capitalized on some opportunities. Dickinson had his 2nd straight good game as a quarterback. A lot of positive things. BC Lions, Matt, regroup.
Yeah, they must. They must. But they had to play well today with the conditions, the wind in their face in McMahon Stadium. You look at Damon Allen. He didn't have a banner day. Why? Because that defense of the Calgary Stampeders got after him. They contained him fairly well all day long, and that secondary took it to the BC receivers. We talked about that at the top of the show. On the other side, we were highlighting Kelvin Anderson. Kelvin Anderson was having a banner day. He was having an exceptional day till he re-aggravated that injury of his. But who steps in? Rock Preston. And I think we're getting a glimpse of Calgary's depth in their positions and what they've done. We've seen it at quarterback all year long. We saw it at the running back position. It helped them sustain the ball and kind of munch that clock there in the 4th quarter for them to get that victory.
And again, you make the comparisons between Calgary and Montreal. When Pringle went down, Haskins came in. When Anderson goes down, in comes Rock Preston and gets the job done, and the Stamps win the football game. Not exactly an offensive struggle. Dwayne Ford, the only touchdown, that came on the first drive. The defenses took over, especially from Calgary. Damon Allen under pressure all day long, and he goes down, and so do the Lions.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard. By Molson Canadian. Here's where we get Canadian. And by Rogers at Home, the internet on cable.
All right, one other game going on in the CFL today, and as predicted, Hamilton Tiger Cats pretty much having their way with Saskatchewan. 19-6 to score at the break. Ronald Williams, who leads the CFL in touchdowns, has 2, both of them from 1 yard out. Saskatchewan, besides a Paul McCallum field goal of 58 yards, well, that was pretty much their highlight offensively in this game. Kind of predictable. We haven't seen much from Saskatchewan. They've lost 6 games in a row, and Hamilton had been putting it together, and they're showing it again today, Matt.
Yeah, 6 out of the last 8. But what they're doing at Taylor Field is not easy to do. I don't care how poorly Saskatchewan has played this year. They're always tough at home. And Chris, I know that you know from experience as well as I do, going over there, it's difficult to come away from a win. So I think we're seeing just how good Hamilton really is when they can go over there and play well and consistently. And they're really starting to put it together.
I think they're putting it together better than any other team in the CFL right now in terms of just having the momentum and a hot quarterback. Remember, McManus is one of these quarterbacks. He doesn't rely on a single player. He relies on all his guys to produce, and that is so important because it keeps your players in the game. I think one observation is it seems the teams that have some very good quality depth at absolutely critical times in the season are the teams that kind of end up in first place, second place in playoff opportunities. That has a lot to do with the success team. I said it earlier this year. Sometimes it's not the top 22, 24 players. It's that 25th, 26th, 27th guy that make the difference, and we're seeing seeing that in a lot of the teams this year, James.
All right, now that game, of course, still going on, but we want to show you the complete standings and give you the complete picture of what's going on in the CFL right now. In the East, it's pretty much settled. Montreal still has a chance to be caught by Hamilton. They can take a step towards that by winning today. Toronto will finish third in all likelihood in the East. Winnipeg is done in the East, but they're not done overall. The Bombers with 5 wins, remember, they could go over to the West. They would have to finish with a better record than Edmonton and Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan losing again today. If they tie, if Winnipeg ties Edmonton, not going to happen. They have to beat Edmonton in the standings. So really, only one playoff spot left in the CFL. It looks like it'll come down to the Bombers and Eskimos. And want to ask you guys who you like, and we'll start with you, Mr. Schultz. Do the Bombers have enough to get by?
You know what? I'm not sure if the Bombers do, because in the game last Friday night against the Toronto Argonauts, the quick interview we had with Dave Ritchie, he was so upset with his guys, and the number one word he was really reiterating was, we have to have guys that can compete. And he said that about 6 different times. Well, that's really putting the onus on the player to play with an intensity level consistently